didn't realise it'd carry on playing unless I stopped it. Hello, everyone.
I was having Mortal Kombat flashbacks then. It sounds like Mortal Kombat.
We're playing live. Yep, hello. How are we all?
Hello,
we're live, are we?
Pardon?
Are we live? Are we gone? Are we gone?
We're live. Yes.
All right. Okay.
We're live as of 50 seconds plus ago.
Hello, everyone.
We're a professional bunch. There we go. We totally know when we're live.
We are live, aren't we? Yes.
Yeah.
We are.
I believe so.
And we're getting welcomes already.
We're getting welcomes.
45 minutes ago, I think Gap was saying hello to Andy.
Wait, Andy Peters and
holiday special. Head and
I was on the ball.
Appropriate clothes as well for the lighting, isn't it, Gap?
It's a what? It's a Spectrum holiday special with Ed and the red heading. Does it mean red herring?
I don't know. I thought it meant the red lighting, to be fair.
Oh, the red lighting. Yeah. Yeah. I need to. It was supposed to be red and green, but I think I've overshot it with the red.
Okay.
So I try and give it a bit of a festive feel, red and green.
Going festive on us.
Hello, toy collector.
It's not the festive episode yet, so it'll be right. It's not a problem.
Hey, Benjamin. And yeah, Gap is affirming that he meant the lighting.
There we go. We've got. I've switched it to blue.
All right. Okay. Barely.
It what?
Yeah, I can see it now. Now it looks like a mouldy red.
Yeah, there's red at top, blue at bottom.
So kind.
I've forgotten what I'd said. I thought I'd be organised and set these streams, in advance on YouTube. Get it all set up, and then it's just a case of entering. And now I forgot what we're supposed to be talking about. How special are the Doctor Who specials? Ooh.
Yes, how special?
Was it that, or were we talking about the long-lived branded items?
That's one thing. Yes, that's one thing.
Okay.
It depends how you define the term special, doesn't it? Because being special can mean lots of things.
Will there be any special guests this time? Well, that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. And we will be showing off our latest collection editions. Well, we always do that, don't we? We always do that.
A special guest. Have we got a special guest?
At the moment, no.
We haven't.
Unfortunately, Mark.
It's short notice, but I could have a word with Spectral Horace, see if he wants to come on.
It will be interesting to see the four of us and two of us being the same. I sometimes think that Spectral Horace is a little bit like Voldemort, and he's there at the back of your head.
Yes, there's certain keywords that activate him, apparently. And that's all we've got for time for tonight. So thank you very much.
Funny.
And Gap is saying you're still in background jail.
Yeah, I'm still in background jail.
Yeah.
So I get myself a green screen for Christmas, and then I can entertain you with amusing backgrounds.
Oh, why don't you just put some like posters up? Like maybe collectible posters or movie.
Because he uses the same background for work.
That's the one.
And
that's the one.
Are you ashamed of your geekery?
No, but the clients aren't always going to be guaranteed to be geek friendly. So it's tricky when it's like that, isn't it?
Can you not
The people who I work with most are yes. Get
a roller blind or something.
Yeah.
So to go douche in case of emergency.
yeah, roller blind. That's what I use for my background for my photos. It's just a grey roller blind that I use.
The council. Oh.
So it's set up have it set up over there somewhere. It's all right, I'm not guiding in aeroplanes. It's like it's set up over there, and so I have this little fold up table. And I just pop the fold up table up, pull the roller blind down, and ready to go.
Yeah.
So you could get a roller blind, something like a 240 wide. I think a 240 wide would probably do it. be wide enough. Maybe a 180 drop, 240, 180, and you could even stick stuff to it so they'll roll up like, a poster or something. So you pull it down. There you go. Instant geekery.
Instant geekery, yes. Well, I mean, if my son didn't have his stuff up in the sort of attic room, I might adopt your tactic and pinch the attic room as a more steady state separate setup. But that's probably a conversation for a couple of years' time, I suspect, at this point.
Well, are you not in the same room now as what your collection is?
No, my collection is downstairs, largely in my dining room and or in my living room, and this is my study. So
right. But don't you have shelving off to the side or something? Because I'm sure or is that again in the kitchen where you've like tilted the camera and you've got stuff in like on your shelves and stuff?
I've got a library cubby hole here, which has my comics in it and a few little odds and ends, but it's not like my sort of primary collecting space, unfortunately.
Right.
As it's currently set up anyway, because I tend to just sort of use this as. I used to use this side for my sort of doing my videos. Ironically, I now use my dining room table because it's got more space and I've got my tripod and stuff now. So I sort of hoik everything down there when I'm doing filming for my own videos and stuff. So it's just the way it's set up here. It's not ideal. So it's not like you guys who've got your collections in terribly sensible places that you can film in front of. It's just not the way I rigged mine originally. So I'd have to sort of rethink it a bit. But going into the attic would be a possibility. But as I say, unfortunately, when I first moved here, all of my son's playroom got hooked up there somehow. Not quite sure how it all fitted in because it's not quite a uniform room. It's a slight L shape to it. But it's a good height, so you can do stuff up there. But again, I've got my wired internet connection here as well. So for resilience purposes, I'm happier here where I've got my wired connection going into my tower PC. Yeah. So if I moved anywhere else, I'd be on Wi-Fi, and this is such an old house that the walls are incredibly solid and about sort of yay thick. So Wi-Fi struggles, hence the wired connection here.
Yeah.
So even going from ground floor to first floor, it's got to pass through a solid wall, and it's just hilarious. So
who are you with for your Wi-Fi?
I have Virgin Broadband, which is incredibly solid.
Yeah, you can get free Wi-Fi signal boosters from them.
Oh, I know, but the thing is, they assume that it's just a weak signal, whereas here it's a solid Wi-Fi signal blocker, effectively, that I've got because of the nature of the walls.
Yeah.
These walls behind me, these are solid brick walls. There's nothing partition-y. There's nothing, they are solid. And they just soak the signal up, unfortunately. So what I've got effectively is it's a random rant about internet connectivity and stuff, but it's basically a 2-zone house. So on one side, I've got where the internet comes in, where the Wi-Fi router is. So one side of the house can sort of get transmitting through from that side. But once you go onto the other side of the house, it's blockaded by the walls, which is why I've got a sort of a Wi-Fi repeater in here, tied to a wire that goes around the outside of the house to come back in the house to feed this router with a wired signal from the original entry point into the house in order to try and give me halfway decent internet in here for the tower. So it's a hodgepodge. It's a classic thing that old houses were not designed for Wi-Fi. Basically, it's that simple. That's what it boils down to. But it's fun getting these things to work. And
well, at least it still stands. Does the house?
Yeah.
Right.
We've got some interesting comments in the chat, which
there is. Could I just make a quick point? I can hear myself feeding back and talking.
Yeah,
back.
there is a bit of an echo.
And I can hear you echoing as well.
All right. Okay.
Oh, you sound fine to me.
Yeah, when I talk, I can hear it looping back. Oh. Right, it's gone. It's gone now. It's gone now. Somebody altered their volume levels.
We're good. Jumpy has pointed out that he can't see Gap's comments. I can explain to you why, Jumpy. Gap is watching on Andy's channel and not on my channel, which is the main one for this. So that's why you can't see his. We can, and we'll be putting them up, so it's not a big deal. But that's also an answer to that question. You don't have a wrench because you do on my channel, but not on Andy's. Mutant Productions. Hello.
Oh, I know him. I know him.
He must be watching through you then.
Yes, very probably. Hello, sir.
And Logan's here. He's saying the Doctor Who specials are clap. I believe he means crap.
No. It's fine. It's fine, Mutant. You're in precisely the right place. This is just a rebroadcast that I do, so I share Cosmic Stream on my channel as well.
Yes. It makes sense. We're all here. Why not?
We can see your comments in our sort of master comments channel, so it's fine. Don't worry. Mutant Productions does commentary on Doctor Who and things of this nature, and is also heavily into his Legos. Which is where I knew him from originally. So I keep an eye on his channel, and he does some very sort of kind of short reviews of things like the Doctor Who specials. So he's current on things of that nature.
Okay, well, I'll give him a follow a little later then.
Yes, but he likes to mask his identity behind various faces, virtual faces.
Oh, okay. I know a certain Doomcock that does exactly the same. Gap's got a crying face. Hello, Rolando. How you doing?
Hello.
We've got greetings amongst you all by the look of it. Okay, on Gareth. Oh, he's hopped over now. He wants that monkey wrench. That's what it is. Dear, strangely enough, I'm lurking on the wrong channel. It seems not at all. As long as you're on one of the three, you'll get to see and take part in all of it. Talking RoboCop. What? Oh, is that the link that you've just posted? Okay. Hello, Lobots. How are you? Finish off your din-dins. Oh, I hope you've had something nice. Yes, I see that now. You're quite welcome to stay over on Andy's. It's a whole new crew, my friend.
Yes, he has many faces. He has many faces.
Okay.
I think it's an Apple thing.
More greetings by the look of it. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So this will be interesting because I've no idea where Mutant Productions stands on the Doctor Who specials, but I can see that we've got 50-50 so far from the people that have commented on them. One thinks they're crap and one thinks that they're great. I'm
slightly confused by them.
Okay, we'll start with you then.
Okay, so I'm wondering, blatant sort of transgender name drops and all the rest of it aside, are they intentionally being confusing? And by that I mean, are they purposefully doing things like re-racing Isaac Newton and calling gravity Mavity and things of this nature in order to just show that something is being skewy and off with this particular little sort of tenancy mini era that we're in? Because I wonder if they're just trying to sort of suggest, because like the Genesis of the Daleks thing, because that's with a standing Davros, because clearly immediately Doctor Who fans went, no, what? Not unjustifiably, clearly, given all the back history that we have. So is there some sense that he's actually intentionally doing some sort of branching universe, timeliney, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly thing, where we're not actually in what you would call the prime Who-niverse anymore? I just throw that out there. Not that I'm an expert in Whovian matters, but it just seems to me that it's being very obviously odd in more than one way, which makes me wonder if it's being done with an ulterior purpose in mind.
Well, my understanding was that the flux destroyed all other universes and only left one universe.
Okay.
That was my understanding. I could be wrong.
Behind on the flux side, I'm aware of it, but I'm not very.
You've watched that. I haven't. So only thing I can actually comment on is what I've seen, and I can only go by the quote that David Tennant gave in the latest episode, where he said that the flux. I don't think he actually named it the flux in that episode, did they? But he did say that it wiped out half of the universe.
He did mention that, yes.
So I'm assuming that half of the universe is being wiped out. Unfortunately, the TARDIS hasn't been to any of those places yet. It's only been to the places that haven't been wiped out,
Hmm.
which includes a history of Earth where Isaac Newton happens to be an Indian.
Hmm. I mean, I see. I've had time to think about that one, and I mean, initially, I gave myself a headache while watching the episode because my eyes were rolling that much. But once it had calmed down, I've since thought on this, and I don't 100% agree with it. However, in something like Doctor Who, I can give it a bit of a pass, yeah, because it's just like it's fantastical. It's a make believe science fiction show, yeah. I think I would have more or take more issue of it if it was supposed to be like a historical production, like if it was a historically fact based production, yeah. Then if you start race and gender swapping, then I mean, like what the BBC did with Cleopatra, they changed the race of Cleopatra, and basically historians all over the world just turned around and said, "Oi, no, she's look nothing like that. You're being silly. Stop it." So on something like this, yeah, it's not, but I mean, it could have a little bit of a knock-on effect because there could be younger kids watching it who now think that Sir Isaac Newton was Indian, and it's like, no, he wasn't. But it's just a TV show. It's just a science fiction make-believe show. This is the actual dude kind of thing. But it will give them that preconception.
But
so yeah,
I just didn't buy a doctor messing with something that was quite fundamental to a scientific establishment of fact. As the Doctor, with his knowledge of with his knowledge of Earth history and everything else.
I thought you'd just been blackwashed for a second.
Because they used to talk a lot about fixed points in time and not being able to mess with those, for example.
Yes.
So isn't that messing with a fixed point of time? Because they're basically giving him the idea. So the idea for gravity,
Yeah, I would agree that. I would say that in Genesis of the Daleks, where the Doctor is, deciding about whether to, off them or not, I would say that is a fixed point in time, because he can't really that determined what was to come afterwards, so I can't really see him, so what RTD's now done with Davros kind of overwrites that, so, but like I said, I think some Mutant has just mentioned. Was it Mutant? Sorry, I'm just having a quick scan through. Oh, yeah, it was Mutant. Yeah, he said something about, RTD has said that he's not canon. He's not bothered about canon. He'll just go where he wants, kind of thing. Sorry, I'm paraphrasing there. So it's. I think if you're dealing with that kind of attitude from a writer, then basically all bets are off. It's just like that's basically him signaling that he's going to do whatever the hell he wants with it.
But like I say, that means it's not a story anymore. That means it's an anthology series. It's a series. It's a series of stories featuring a character called the Doctor, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, I mean, and the thing is, I think we've discussed this before, but it's it's kind of how much of the show's current popularity is dependent on those who've been watching it for decades. Are we still relevant as an audience for that show, or does it only care about a modern audience who are, dare I say it, TikTok based and therefore used to getting rapid flashing images of short periods of time that have no connection with the one that preceded it? In which case, it doesn't bloody matter, does it? Because continuity stops being a concern, which is easy, but it also means horribly lazy writing potentially. Whereas personally,
very lazy writing.
Yeah. Whereas
lazy writing.
Solid, consistent.
Yeah. To the point that the first episode of these specials is a 1970s comic strip that all he's done is put some of his own agenda into it and called it his own script. It's not really, is it?
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, again, maybe I'm just being a bit too lenient here, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's lazy writing. I would say that it's quite narcissistic, selfish writing, because he's writing from his own personal politics and social views and point of view. Yeah, rather than
all writers will, of course.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. You've got to. I think if you're going to write science fiction, it has to be. It has to. Obviously, it takes some influence from current events. It does. You know, there's no denying that. But it depends on how deep or how far you lean into that. Yeah, a good science fiction writer will write a story that you'll get halfway through it and you're just suddenly realize, you go, oh shit, yeah, that's what it's about. It's about that. You know, rather than going straight in and saying,
it's
hello,
veiled.
my name's Jason. Sorry, no, my name's not Jason. My name's whatever it bloody well is now. And
Rose.
I've got a cock, but I'm a woman. And it's like, you know, it's just like that's the lazy part. Yeah. That's the lazy part.
Yes, it was not done in a subtle fashion.
No,
there was no veil.
Yeah, no. Which quite frankly, I don't give a fuck about. Sorry, I'm swearing again. I don't care about it. Yeah, what makes me pause is if the only thing that identifies you as a person or makes you relevant as a person is how you identify your sexuality, then you're a pretty boring fucking person, to be honest. You know, it's like, you know, if that's all that defines you as a person, then it's like, I feel sorry for you. You know, it's like, you know, it's so to make a character in a program like that, it's like, well, yeah, okay, but you're boring. You know, what else is there? You know, it's like the Doctor. Yeah, he's always been known as a madman with a box. Well, maybe not always, but in the new tenure, let's say, it's a madman with a box, yeah? And it's like, you could use that singular thing to define him, but it nowhere near scratches the surface of what he actually is, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, Gap's saying that it's an agenda show, not entertainment. That's where they're going. It does feel a little bit like it's sort of issue / flavor of the week. Which they've chosen to devote a special to, you know, with a sort of particular emphasis, just to say, here's Doctor Who, it's the 21st century, this is what's current, we just need to sort of deal with this and make clear where we as a show stand on this. And the thing is, you know, I think that science fiction shows have historically been a way for writers to challenge quietly cultural concepts before they actually become a thing.
Quietly.
So, I remember Star Trek doing an episode where there was a sort of, I can't remember if it was like a hermaphrodite sort of alien species or similar, something like that. And it was kind of no one made a big deal of it because it was just an episode of Trek. But actually, when you look back at it, you know, you can see it quietly sort of nudging you in a particular direction, but without being completely gratuitous about it and obvious about it, you know.
I mean, this is the thing. Star Trek was dealing with things like this decades before this even became a thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was in... Oh, let me see now. Was it one of the Next Generation episodes? It was about the Trill.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
And that's essentially, you know, I think it was a male Trill, and then it was transplanted then into a woman. And was it Beverly Crusher? Was it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And it's like that was like what? That was the early 90s, yeah. And it was done and dealt with, and people got it, and it was like, yeah, that's right, you know. And it's like, you know, so now they come along 30 odd year later, and they're like, big hammer, we're going to slap you over the head with it. It's like. And that's why people are kicking back, because it's like, no, people smarter and more intelligent than you did this 30 years ago and did it better. Yeah. So, and like I say, and it was more subtle, and there was more nuance to it. You know, there was more in the story to it, rather than just sort of like, oh, did you just assume that aliens' pronouns? It's like, oh, go fuck yourself with your penis. You know, it's just like, It just no.
I think maybe Gap needs to go onto the Cosmic stream, because I think
he is now. But
okay.
Lack, where is it? Lack there. Hello, Lack. Is Gap here or are we cross streaming? No, Gap is here, but I think you're watching either from Andy's stream or from Eddie's. It's and that's why you're not seeing his comments. But you'll see them on the screen anyway. It's true. It's true.
He must be watching from Andy's. He's not watching from mine.
Okay.
Damn you!
So if we want to go back to the point and get off this politics stuff, that's probably still going to be involved in this. But Mutant says, if he remembers correctly, the flux was stopped at Earth's door. So what happened to the planets of the solar system? Alpha Centauri, Betelgeuse? The flux was a crap storyline, and it was never resolved properly. No, it wasn't, and they probably didn't. Well, I've heard from a lot of reviewers that they did more with it, with the line from David Tennant, than what they actually did in the actual storyline of the flux.
Well, to be fair, the whole Chibnall thing, the whole Chibnall era was just dross.
I didn't watch
I haven't watched all of it. No, I've seen.
There's more. People are busy in the chat today. Wow.
I watched a bit of it. I watched the first episode.
Bodies with Captain Kirk was back in the day, but they didn't shove it down your throat, did they? Well, you don't know what they were doing behind closed doors.
Turnabout Intruder was the last episode.
Yeah, they could hide it in science fiction shows, just like they used to hide it in comics.
But they're not trying to hide it. I think that's the issue, isn't it? It's not.
Oh no! Today it's being horribly obvious about it. But back in the day, when it was more
signposted and there's neon flashing lights around it.
Yeah,
really, really annoying.
Which an intelligent audience doesn't need.
I mean, just as a taking the episodes just as they are, they don't. I personally don't feel that there's anything special about them. To me, they feel like mid-season episodes. Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing real that says these episodes are here to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. However, sort of like counteracting that opinion is, I don't think I've actually heard any official sources from Doctor Who's side, like the producers or things like that, actually say that these episodes are to celebrate the 60th anniversary. The media has done that. The media have said, 3 60th anniversary special episodes, yeah? Now, they may have done, but they may have been marketed like that, they may not have been. But so far, these 2 episodes that's been on don't really feel very special. Like I said, they feel quite mid-series episodes. I personally found I didn't like the first episode, although it did have some good moments in it with regards to interaction between David Tennant and Catherine Tate. Second episode, I actually found quite boring. I was bored, because it was like, well, I spoke to Gareth earlier about this. It felt like it was trying to be too clever. It also felt like and I apologise, I can't remember the name of the episode, but it's the Matt Smith episode where they're trapped in the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
I know which one you mean.
Yeah.
God Complex?
It may be that one. And it gave me that kind of vibes, and it wasn't really... And also, it didn't feel like Doctor Who.
Yeah,
maybe it feels. Maybe it's because it looks a bit too shiny and polished. Yeah.
Well, that's.
And I mean, to be fair, the special effects I didn't think was great. Which I know Doctor Who isn't known for its special effects, but the crappy special effects, you love them because they are crappy. It has that feeling. Yeah. It is quintessentially Doctor Who. This last episode, it was like it was just so blatantly obvious they were walking on a treadmill in front of a green screen. It looked awful. Yeah, and it was just like, So yeah, no. So from my point of view, no. I don't find there's anything very special about them.
I mean, I would view these as if they are in sort of a trilogy. So I think they're obviously intended to get us somewhere, i.e., the next Doctor, basically. But I think they're also going to, as some people have been putting in the comments, I think there is clearly an intention to do some form of reset off the back of this as well, for whatever reason.
Yeah, it feels like treading water. It feels like treading water until Shooty comes. And I said to Gareth the other day, it wouldn't surprise me if Tennant regenerates into Shooty. I'd say maybe halfway through the final episode rather than just at the end.
Yeah, it might make more sense if it needs to actually properly bring him in, wouldn't it? I mean, that would make
and then
sense.
And as Gareth said, bring him in halfway through so he can save the day rather than Tennant.
So, where are we with regeneration these days? Because
are we talking clothes on or clothes off?
Or the same clothes or different clothes, yes. But Smith got a new set of regenerations, didn't he?
Well, apparently that doesn't matter anymore because the Doctor can just regenerate as many times as he or she likes. Sorry. Oh, wow. The Doctor can regenerate as many times as he, she, they, them.
No. The Doctor. He identifies as the Doctor.
The definite article.
Yes, indeed, that one. Because I just wondered, because I was just thinking that where is he now? Given that he's chewed one up and now he's about to chew another one up.
Well, that's the thing. According to Chibnall's Flux storyline and the Unearthly Child, not what Unearthly Child. I forgot. Anyway, I can't.
Whatever that was.
That crap episode. Anyway,
Timeless Child.
That's it. Yeah. It's it has unlimited regenerations. Yeah,
okay.
Because its species just is able to regenerate at a drop of the hat, which again contradicts and overwrites the Time Lord Council granting him an extra set of regeneration periods.
Yes, that makes
while he was on Trenzalore with Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I didn't realise I knew this much about Doctor Who.
And I remember that bit. I think I was following it.
Hey, listen, I'm very, very scared right now.
Be afraid to be very afraid. But the thing is, he was old there, so you would think that if he was capable of regeneration, he was getting that ancient, he would just inherently regenerate because they hadn't changed the rules by that point, had they? So he would be doing that. So,
yeah, it was. I mean, like as Gaps just mentioned, they had like 12 regenerations, didn't they? I think that was that set in the original series that they had 12.
They could regenerate 12 times.
Yeah.
So that's 13 incarnations, and then you're done. That's it. Off your pop. Pushing daisies after that. But they haven't changed the rules. Gap's saying they've changed the rules. They've amended them for the Doctor. They did mention back in the 5 Doctors, which is 1983, that they could give the Master, who was at the end of his regeneration cycle, he was always in his final body when we saw him, that if he was to help them out, they could give him a brand new regeneration cycle. So it was already hinted at that as early as that they could award you more.
You get a boosted bonus.
For whatever reason and through whatever sciences. And that's essentially what they did with the 11th Doctor on Trenzalore. They gave him a brand new set of regeneration cycles. So from there, we believe that he had another 13 bodies to go through. It turns out that's not necessarily the case.
And then, of course, they gained the ability to be sort of zappy with their regeneration energy and put it into spare hands and
funnel them off. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's certain aspects of Doctor Who prior to this that I've not always agreed with or seen eye to eye to. I mean, like I say, I never really liked the whole romancy kind of aspect that came along when David Tennant came into the role. you know. But I think that was played upon because of how he was received when he played Casanova.
Yes.
You know, and I think it was a case of, right, we'll try and bring a bit of that to Doctor Who to mix it up a bit. I understand, but I still think that, I don't know. I just think that the Doctor really ought to be the type of character that's a bit more aloof than that, or maybe isn't. It's kind of like thinking, well, yeah, I might have done that maybe 500 or 600 years ago, but now I can't be bothered now. You know, because essentially, pretty much everyone he meets now are infants compared to him. You know, they're just like, you know, he's just like, you know, he's this almost semi-omnipotent being who probably, you know, probably just doesn't. Now, I could understand the Metacrisis human 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
You know, that's gone off with Rose because he's half human. Yeah. And I can understand it on that side. And if you want to do that with him, then fine. Go off, have a different series where he's off in wherever he is and, you know, he's filling his boots.
There's a lot of arguments that Paul McGann's Doctor, obviously, as well, was very romanticised, but I always saw that as a one and done. You know, he met Grace, he had the adventure with her, there was a little bit of passion, moved on, he left her behind. I can't imagine that had they done a whole series with Paul McGann that he would be doing that at every stop.
Hello, lady.
That really would have been a Casanova, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
Gap, I'm exactly there with you.
Yeah,
can't forgive the timeless child.
I'm not into heavy relationships at the moment. I've just come out of a relationship with an absorbal off, and I'm missing one or two bits. So, anyway,
if they were to do anything, they should have stopped the 13th Doctor and rebooted the series again. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, yeah,
I'm up for thinking they should have rebooted at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I said this months ago. I personally feel that when Shooty takes over, I think that's going to be a soft reboot. I think it's going to be a case of we're starting again, and it's not just because it's been billed as season 1. I think it's just that I think that, you know, with I think Russell T Davies being back. You know, I can understand the BBC asking him to come back, but I think part of the reason why he came back was he's basically turned around and said, right, okay, yeah, I'll come back, but I'm going to go full hard into this. And I'm just, you know, I'm going to do stuff in this that you wouldn't maybe have let me done on my first tenure, you know.
Do you see it then going sort of almost kind of more Torchwood in its approach to life? Because I could imagine Torchwood doing transgender stuff just in your face because it was Torchwood.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
I enjoyed Torchwood.
But you look at Torchwood through a completely different lens.
Yeah. But
exactly.
Torchwood isn't Torchwood. Who?
The Sarah Jane adventures. I absolutely adore that. And I like the fact that there were crossovers. But again, you look at it through a different lens. The Sarah Jane adventures, you definitely look at it through the eye of a child. The Torchwood, you look at it through the eye of an adult. Doctor Who, you look at it through the eye of the family. Everyone's supposed to sit down and watch that together. Or even you can put it on for the kids while you're doing the cooking in the kitchen and listening over your shoulder to what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
That's the kind of show it is. You don't want to be having to explain to your kids, was that a man in a dress, Mummy? I don't understand.
Well, that's the thing. If my kids were kids now, I wouldn't let them watch it.
But you see, the really interesting thing about that is my kid, although he isn't into Doctor Who, wouldn't actually bat an eyelid at it. Because his grasp of these concepts, you know, I struggle to keep up with sometimes because for his generation, it isn't such a thing because they are constantly exposed to stuff like this, be it through TikTok or just general school chit chat and all the rest of it, because it is more mainstream now and being talked about now in a way that we were never exposed to as we grew up. So we're the ones playing catch up. The modern
but you see,
probably isn't.
But I see the problem with that is that kids these days don't get time to be kids. Yeah, they don't have a childhood now. They're literally from infancy, they've got a device or whatever thrust into their hands. They're exposed to all this stuff. They're exposed to this stuff at school far too young. At primary school, they're talking about things like this, which is wrong. Which I don't agree with, and they just don't have time to be kids. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw or heard any kids actually playing out around where I live. Yeah. It's like, I couldn't even tell you that, sort of like, I mean, if you were to ask a kid nowadays, oh, have you ever climbed a tree? Have you ever played kick can? Have you played hide and seek? They probably look, have you ever, gone hedge jumping? They're just like, So I think, I think that probably speaks to a wider issue that you can't really blame Doctor Who on, but, it's like you say, it's that thing where, the stuff that they're talking about in the show is the kids are getting battered over the heads by it, from too young an age, Anyway.
Hit the can. Is that a new app?
It can.
Let kids be kids.
Yeah. Although we'd use a football, not a can, because we could kick it further down the road.
Knockdown Ginger was a classic, says Lobot. Anyway, I've not actually said my thoughts on these previous two yet.
Go for it.
First one, meh. There was far more in it that actually irritated me than what I got to enjoy from it. And
how does a wheelchair user get into a steel mill? I'll tell you something.
How does a wheelchair user fire missiles out of her wheelchair without being thrown back?
Well.
I absolutely pissed myself laughing when she crossed her legs.
Yeah.
I did. I just went. I absolutely wet myself when she crossed her legs. I thought, what?
There's obviously still some function in them then.
There is, yeah. Can you feel that, love? No, keep trying.
Hiya.
Yeah.
The second one, I'll admit, I enjoyed a lot more than the first. I get that it was slow. It did plod quite a little bit, quite a lot actually. But I did enjoy it. It had... I think it brought a little bit of scary back to Doctor Who.
Yeah, there are also some interesting lines, just like single lines in it as well.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Where sort of Tennant says, I shouldn't have invoked a superstition where the veil is thin kind of thing. I'm like, oh, all right then. So that was a bad thing then that you just did,
No, I would. If the first episode, I would probably say I'd give it a 3 out of 10. The second episode, I'd probably give it a 5. Neither.
Can we talk about waterproofing the TARDIS console? I mean, really?
Well, I do recall the Doctor having a swimming pool in the TARDIS. And I do recall Matt Smith climbing out of the TARDIS being absolutely soaking wet. So apparently his TARDIS could handle getting wet. It seems very odd that when it's been reformatted and rebooted and it's nice, fresh and shiny, that a cup of coffee can absolutely destroy it. That seems really, really weird, does that? But I suppose they had to have some way of fitting in that little tiny clip of Isaac Newton, which I'm sure that the Mavity thing is going to play into next week's episode. And I'm also certain that the reference of him later and the Doctor's like, oh, yes, he was hot. Oh, is that who I am now? I think that's going to play into next week's episode as well, because we've seen images of him and the toy maker, Neil Patrick Harris, dancing in the street, I believe it is. So I wonder if there's supposed to be some kind of romance there between them
Alright.
two. Whether maybe not romance, but maybe attraction, and that's the shoehorning in of him liking Isaac Newton might lead into that. But again, these are not the stories I expect from Doctor Who.
Well, no, it's the.
I didn't like him having a thing with Rose, a thing for Rose, rather. I certainly don't like him having a thing for Isaac Newton.
The thing is, he has had male companions before. So if you're going to draw that inference just from choice of companion sex, then it's kind of so what? So
it's more of a if I can remember my history, it's like the relationship between the Doctor and his companions always struck me as it's a term called agape, which is a kind of it's a Greek word, and it means the love that a teacher has for the student.
It's a bromance kind of thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not a bromance. It's basically it's sort of like it's the love that a teacher has for the student. And like I say, I think it's an old Greek term. So things like for Socrates and things like that, they would love and nurture their students because ultimately they were training them to replace them. So it's that kind of thing. They want them to grow and develop and to nurture them.
Well, that was the Seventh Doctor with Ace.
Sorry, Seventh Doctor with what? Sorry,
that was exactly what you've just described. There was the Seventh Doctor with Ace.
Right? Yeah.
He was putting her through a lot of ordeals and trials, and if rumours and drafts of scripts are supposed to be believed, then had there been another series, he would have been sending her to Gallifrey to train to become a Time Lord.
Right.
Which is an interesting
take
on things.
Yeah.
Well, they were. This is where Chibnall has put a lot of defence into what he did, because they were trying to work back then to have Time Lord Society having been founded by Omega, Rassilon, and the Other. And it was going to turn out that the Doctor was the Other. So he was going to have some great big connection with the founding of Time Lord Society and everything. They just, Chibnall's version of it was his blood is what Time Lord Society is based on, which is a little bit different, isn't it?
Yes.
Not quite the same.
No.
Because Beloved does not like shagging.
The consolidated viewing figures for the first episode, Star Beast, came out at 7.6 million. So it's like 2.5 million. It's 2.5 million up from the overnights. Now, this is something else I take issue with. I think with programs, you should go by the overnight viewing figures. I think it should be about who tunes in on the night to watch it. Yeah, I think that's how it should be judged, because, like
we're
I
in
said,
a very different world.
Yeah, I know. But if something is such a television event, like what it's being made out to be, 60th anniversary, people tune in for it. Yeah, if it's that important and that special, people will tune in for it. Like I say,
I don't know about that, because Coronation Street is certainly not a TV event, and yet Doctor Who's ratings has always been put up against Coronation Street. I can even remember Paul McGann's episode being compared to what Coronation Street got that week.
Yeah, that might have been.
That was the only comparator they would have had.
Yeah, you're talking 30-odd year ago, Gareth. So that is the only comparison they would have had back then.
Yeah,
but it's like, but then again, programs like I can understand in some respect, programs like Coronation Street and EastEnders have consistently got high ratings. Because well, I think the general public are idiots, because they'll watch any old crap. It's like, TV. It's getting like that film Idiocracy. That's what's happening. But no, I just thought I'd throw that in there, that it's still, what was it, about 13 million? What it Tennant's highest rating?
I think his highest probably was. Yeah, I think his average was like 9-10.
Right.
Which is still a massive chunk of the British population. if you assume that's accurate, so fair dues. Yeah.
Yeah, TV ratings used to be based on the night, and now it is the night of plus 7 days, at least in the US. I think it's something similar to that over here, to be fair.
Do we want to call...
what I don't like about that is that it takes into account people that watch it again and again and again.
Yes, yeah.
I don't like that.
No, yeah.
Anyway, I think we've spent enough time on the Doctor Who specials. In fact, we've spent about as long as the special on the Doctor Who specials.
Indeed.
I believe that Andy has a topic to pitch to us.
Does he?
Yes. Yeah, Andy did, because this is the one we discussed in the WhatsApp chat, which was along the lines of which of the sort of branded toy lines that we are familiar with has had the longest run, or that we might see having the longest run. And I believe we were also bouncing around, gentlemen, were we not, the definition of what a given branded toy line is. And I think we sort of roughly settled on the idea that it's whatever we would associate with that brand, regardless of whom it's actually being manufactured by at any given point in time. So we're purely looking at it as a conceptual brand styling rather than an actual manufacturer constantly producing it throughout time, if that makes sense. Yes?
So an IP, a brand IP.
Yes, a brand IP. Because the IP can be licensed to others to produce over the course of its run, and so therefore does not have to be situated with one producer all the time. But then equally, I dare say some of them have been largely owned and sort of therefore produced by someone exercising that monopoly right to their IP. So we were thinking about things like, you came up with a very good one of Barbie, didn't you, Gareth, as being a very, very long running.
I think it was Ed that put that one out.
Yeah. And Lego being another one that's survived down the ages.
I say Steiff teddy bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barbie and Lego. Barbie and Lego.
Come on then, people. I think, what do you reckon to a really long-running toy line? What was around when you were kids? What did your parents play with that's still going now? I'm waiting for your comments.
How long's Fisher-Price been going?
Well, Fisher-Price is a brand rather than IP, isn't it? They do all sorts. Yeah,
they're more. That's more generic, isn't it? I suppose, rather than being actual product as such. Yeah,
Fisher-Price is more akin to Mattel rather than Barbie.
Yeah. No, fair dues.
Yeah, because Fisher-Price make the toys, don't they? Fisher-Price isn't the Fisher-Price isn't the end product.
I dare say that there's certain lines that Fisher-Price have produced that are probably still going today, or at least have taken a break and come back and whatnot. Did they do the little wooden dog on the wheels?
I'm thinking about that, like that telephone toy.
Yeah. Speaking
Smurfs.
Schleich Smurfs, of course. Yeah. Although they're probably going to be 80s, aren't they?
No, Smurfs, I think, have been knocking about since 50s or 60s.
They are pretty old.
Maybe late 50s or early 60s.
Yeah. The little figures.
Maybe not the little figures, but Smurfs as a thing. Yeah, I believe they've been around donkey's years. I will check.
Asterix
is an interesting one. Yeah. But when were their toys? It would have been the comics first, wouldn't it? So also Tintin. Hercules Adventures of Tintin.
Adventures of Tintin.
1958 with the Smurfs.
Okay. Interesting.
When did Asterix come about then?
I can remember getting... I think, it's a while ago, let's say, when my dad used to go to the petrol station and get petrol, I used to get a Smurf.
59? Yeah. Smurfs beat Asterix.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Only just.
Fill up with a Smurf. That was the tagline. I think it was national petrol stations. So 58 Smurfs, 59 Asterix. Yeah, there's And I think, did we say Barbie? Wasn't Barbie 50, early 50s, mid
Having a look
50s?
now. 59.
59. And Lego was the 40s. I think Lego was 47, was it?
Lego, yeah, I'm all there for the Lego.
But the caveat with the Lego is the fact that Lego, it was wooden blocks.
They were, yeah.
And general toys. They didn't move to the plastic bricks until, was it the 50s?
Actually, Lego was founded in 1932.
Right.
However, not for the wooden blocks, I imagine.
Yeah. You see, you could say people like, but they're not going anymore. You know, like Meccano. I think Meccano were 1800s or late 1800s. You know, but they've
As early
bit
as
the
that.
dust.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, that's another really interesting one because, I mean, I've got stuff upstairs that my son's granddad got in that was Meccano, even now, you know. So it is still kind of clinging on as some sort of ghost brand, I suppose, you know. It's one of those ones where you sort of wonder if someone's resurrected it and slapped it as a label onto something that's kind of maybe isn't really Meccano anymore. I don't know, but yeah, I was going to say, I mean, action. We were talking about Action Man and stuff, weren't we? In terms of
the GI Joe figures and GI Joe figures were 60s, 64.
Yeah, I don't think they were 40s, were they?
GI Joe was a term used in the 40s, I'm sure, because I think it probably was a term for the American soldiers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Generically, you know. I mean, who else would have been around early doors? But that's a toy that's still current there. Things like the Pink Panther.
That's the one, Milton. Thank you. Yeah, Frank Hornby. You know, and obviously the Hornby train rail set, which actually is still going now because you know they're on the TV. You know, because they make the Airfix. Yeah, there's a program. You know,
Hornby train sets are still being produced anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You know, so they've actually moved back into their original factories now. You know, after the move.
Although I would ask, this is an interesting question to pose because, as we know, at all toy fairs, it's 50% Hornby trains.
That is a thing, yes.
Yeah. Do we think that the normal train sets, which are quite expensive and high detail, do we class them as toys? Or are they a collector's model?
No, the toys. They're on the toy. Yeah, they're on the toy shelves. The train sets. You know, they're sold and marketed to children.
It's not something you can pick up and play with, which is that I would say that's the definition of a toy. Something to play with. And you can't play with it. You don't do anything with it.
Well, no. The older generation of train collectors now.
I can't believe I just said that.
It's
that's what I'm saying.
Toy.
You turn it on and watch it play with itself.
No, that's the thing. The older generation of Hornby train collectors now collect them because they had them as toys as children. So the toys.
But they started with the toy ones that you pushed along yourself.
No, Hornby rail sets have always been, you know, electric.
I had powered Hornby when I was little.
I did. They've always been powered.
It's the sort of toy that your parent, probably your dad would have helped you to play with. So it was like a family joint father and son kind of toy, I think, by its nature. Because I would class it as one of those construction toys, not unlike Lego, where in order to get play value and enjoyment out of it, you have to put some work in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're going to categorize it like that, then you'd also have to say the same about Scalextric, which has been going a long time as well. You know, which again,
there's a difference with Scalextric because you don't just turn it on and let it go. You have to release that trigger and everything as it's going around corners and then speed up and everything again. You are playing with that. You are physically playing with it. Not just pressing the button and letting it go.
No, you do with train sets as well. You can speed up and slow the train sets down. They have a graduated...
Can.
Yeah, well, you can with the Scalextric as well.
But
No,
you know,
I'm
I'm
saying,
saying it's not
no, I'm
competitive.
saying you have to with a scale electric.
No, you
You
don't.
can't just press a button and let it run itself. It
You
won't
could
do
just
that.
keep it on moderate speed all the time if you wanted to.
But you're physically doing that.
No, but you can get setups for scale electrics like what you can get for train sets, where it's automatic and you just push the button and it provides a constant voltage to the track. So
Yeah,
the
because
cars go around.
if you think about it, the ones that are in shop windows would have to do that.
Yeah.
Is it not a different goal though?
In what
Well, yes,
respect?
one's a race, one's just a steady.
Exactly.
pace.
There's a race. There's a playing aspect. There's a competition aspect to it. You are competing with whoever it is you're playing against. But beyond that, with a train set, there's nothing like that whatsoever.
So
no,
I
but
think
the play value in train sets is reenacting real life. That's the play value in that. Yeah. So people spend money and actually spend time building buildings and decorating it to make it look like specific runs of the track. Same with scale electrics. People build scale electric sets to look like particular race tracks or this, that, and other. You know, you can get all the accessories, you can get buildings and.
But I think
See,
Gareth's
I
point, I think,
it's
is that
more
one is a creative hobby. One is and maybe the other has more of a toy aspect because it's sort of thing you can pick up and drop in an instant once you set up the track once. Whereas if you're going to take the train thing seriously, you've got to set it up, create it, detail it, set it in a steady state motion, and kind of that's it. And you wouldn't necessarily have to involve anyone else in play with it. Now, I'm not saying you have to have two people to play with a toy. That's obviously not the case. But I can see that there's a more mature element to the design of what you're describing as a sort of full-on replica of something, as opposed to it just being something you just.
Well, no. I think that comes with the adult collector. You buy a child a train set for Christmas, and the kid will play with it as a toy. If they carry the love of that toy through to adulthood, then they will build on that and make scenery and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's a very interesting point. It's the use to which you put it, isn't it? Because a kid would put other toys on the tracks in front of the locomotive, whereas the adult hobbyist would never dream of doing that because that wouldn't be the thing to do.
So
whereas
fundamentally, they are toys. It is a toy.
It's what you make
children.
of it. It's what you make of it as the user, isn't it?
Yeah, that's appreciated by adults. Yeah, I mean, like you could say the same about an adult Lego collector who buys the Lego, builds it, and then shoves it on a shelf to gather dust. Is that still a toy, or isn't it a toy?
No, it's a toy.
but they're not playing with it. It's just on a shelf gathering dust.
No,
so
it has been played with. In order to build it, it's been played with. You've just described.
So does a train set. A train set has to be played.
Yeah, and if you let me get a word in, you've just described a way of playing with a train set, which that train set won't last more than an hour. When you said that a kid, will get it out, build it up on the living room floor and play with it. You do that, it's going to pick up fibres from the carpet, which is going to knacker the motor in the train, and it's going to get caught in the wheels. So it's not going to last very long at all.
You didn't have a train set as a kid, did you?
That's not what it's designed to
do. You're very bitter. You didn't have a train set as a kid, did you?
I did. Yeah,
did you?
Yeah.
Have you noticed my train set was
set up on a wooden board to be set up properly?
And so it was, sir. So it was.
And then I never got to play with it because it was mounted on a wooden board and we had nowhere to put the fucking board.
Oh, he's bitter. He's bitter.
But no, I view the train set more in the ways of like Warhammer army building. I think of it more as a hobby rather than an actual plaything. And I don't consider wargaming miniatures to be toys personally, even though I run a toy shop and I sell them in said toy shop.
No, your Warhammer's more arts and crafts. Yeah, but I can assure you, I think if you were to do a consensus, I'm pretty confident that people would categorize Hornby and trains as a toy.
I think they probably would, because I think they'd be coming at it from your point of view that they had a train set as a kid. Ask yourself now, though, how many kids get a train set?
My son got a Brio one.
Got
a Brio one, but not a powered one.
Not quite the same. Now, a Brio one, I would say that's a children's toy. That is definitely a toy, is that, Andy?
I think the problem is the generation that would have bought kids a train set as a toy now of their kids are grown up. Yeah. So I would say probably me and Andy's generation are probably the last generation that quite possibly would have bought their kids a train set when they were children. Yeah. I think adults now that are in maybe the mid-20s, early 30s, no, they wouldn't buy their kids a train set because it's something that they wouldn't have been brought up on. Like, say, for example, they're probably more likely to buy the kids a games console or a Kindle or an iPad or whatever, things like that, or some kind of gadgety kind of toy.
I think that's quite cyclical, though, in a sense, because we were probably quite unusual in the sense that although he did get an iPad fairly early doors, we didn't let him go on it morning, noon, and night.
No,
to the extent that we were actually complimented in a foreign hotel for him not being on one during breakfast, because loads of other kids were, and it's just a personal choice thing like anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if he would go with that, but I think it is cyclical because at some point there'll be a bit of a backlash, and then people will start getting traditional toys again. It'll go in phases as it always does.
And that's the thing that was the point I was going to make. I think that toys like Hornby and train sets fall into that category of traditional toys rather than toys. Yeah. So they're still toys. They're still made, I would say that maybe Hornby are making probably now. I would give you that. I would say that maybe Hornby now is catering to the collector because they've moved with their core, their core business. So it's like, right, okay, well, 40 years ago, these kids were getting train sets. These kids are now in the 60s and they're buying them to build up in the loft. So we'll go with them because they've got the disposable cash. They've got the love for the IP. Yeah. But we'll also still produce these basic sets. So then if they want to buy the grandkids one, so they can share the experience with them. Yeah. And I think that's probably what it is. It's like Scale Electric now. They're leaning into like the movie cars, like Knight Rider, Back to the Future.
Fast and Furious,
yeah, I know, but there's been a lot of stuff popping up at the moment with it and that, it's like
Mike,
that's capturing, the 80s nostalgia vibe.
Yeah,
so, but anyway, we drifted off a bit there, didn't we? From long-lasting toys.
Yeah, I mean, it flowed from me looking at the stuff that I've got at the minute and just sort of thinking how much of it is still around and sort of being produced now. I guess for people like me, largely, who are still sort of actively buying stuff like that. So I mean, I looked at like the Jerry Anderson stuff, and obviously Corgi is still re-churning out the Jerry Anderson stuff. So that's still live, even though that was originally sort of 70s in terms of sort of stuff that they're reproducing now, or possibly even earlier. I'm not sure when Captain Scarlet first came out, but Captain Scarlet always seems to be quite popular. So that's getting recycled again and again and again. And obviously,
sorry, could I ask Andy? That's. I mean, like I said, I know of the toys, but I don't know much about the current status of them at the moment. But the Jerry Anderson stuff that's being produced now by Corgi, is that at a price point that's accessible for kids, or is it more a price point for the collector?
I would say it's a price point for the collector categorically.
So does that now negate its status as a toy?
Well, again, though, it's who does the collector then buy them for? Is it purely because the collector will already have multiple examples of this, albeit possibly at a slightly different scale or whatever? I suppose if you're a completist, then yeah, you'll buy it to add it to a collection. But then you see, I think the thing with the Jerry Anderson stuff is that it's got a very long-lasting appeal because they still look like really cool jets even now. So, if a child found one secondhand somewhere that was cheaper, they'd probably still be a toy. Mark will probably have more of a view on this because I know that he's had some more of the more recent ones, and I think his view of the build quality is fairly sort of, negative. So maybe they wouldn't make great toys, or maybe they would. I just don't know. But yeah, I would agree that they're in the original purchaser. Yeah.
On a more, say, philosophical or literal point of view, if a toy's not being played with, is it still a toy?
But then
the purpose of a toy is to be played with. So if it isn't being played with, it's no longer a toy.
No, that's fair enough. But I mean, we've also had the Thunderbirds Are Go series, which did have toys, actual toys produced for it. So obviously that was still a thing as far back as recently as sort of 2015, 2016. So that was still very much a thing. And my son picked up on that because he really enjoyed that series. So these reimaginings are obviously keeping stuff alive at both levels. So there'll be
how far do you go with a question like that though? Because you could equate it to many things, and straight away my head went to bomb. Is a bomb if it hasn't been exploded?
No, it's a bomb.
And once it has been exploded, it's no longer a bomb.
It's a bomb that hasn't realised its full potential.
It's only a bomb while it's actually exploding. It's a bullet until it's fired.
Well, it remains a bullet because it doesn't disintegrate into shrapnel. Yes.
No, I think a toy is a toy. It doesn't have to be played with to be a toy.
I suppose it depends on the original intent when it was created. Let's put it that way.
It's still a butt plug, whether it is in a butt or not.
It's like a hot toy figure. Yeah, a hot toy figure isn't really a toy.
They're not toys.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're ridiculously rich and you could afford to buy them and give your kids them to play with, then they are toys. But they're not. They're expensive Barbie and action men.
That's what Lobot.
It's still a cat, yes, but it's not being driven. It's not being. It doesn't realise its full potential.
Neither do I. Oh, not that. What other long-lasting toy lines have we got then? What did we think of?
Well, I mentioned plasticine. Plasticine's been around the block a while, a few times. There's that. You mentioned the bears, the Steiff bears, the teddy bear, the dollies. Teddy bears.
Yeah.
Or dolls.
Generic dolls.
Yeah.
But it's like, how far, I mean, even the simple, even a ball. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Balls being.
I think that's why we qualified it with branded, didn't we? Because otherwise you could go, right back to basics. Concepts of
a stick.
Yes. A stick.
Oh while we're talking about sticks, I'm going to show off my latest addition to my collection. A stick.
Yeah. It's a gun.
In a walnut wood.
So no, I don't know. I mean, I think that's the thing. I mean, it probably could have regional ramifications as well, because what may be a long-lasting toy that we know about, there may be something in France or Germany or Belgium, that we have no knowledge about, that they've had for donkey's years that's still going. So I mean, it's only. I think it's only because, like I say, we know about the the big major ones because of the marketing behind them. So you things like your Star Warses and your Barbies and your G.I. Joes, because they have the big brand behind them, but there may be lesser known toys that have been around just as long or longer that that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, things like obviously Transformers coming out of Japanese toys that we would not otherwise have heard of. So the Diaclones and all that sort of good stuff that morphed into the stuff that is now is continuing, and those are nice examples of some more modern IP where you can see there's a sort of a future down the road for them because they are constantly getting reimagined, all the time.
Well, they celebrate the 40th anniversary next year.
Yeah, and on what a nice segue. Look at what I've got here.
Red Alert.
Now, tell me, why might I feel shortchanged, Ed/Gareth, about this as a toy?
Why do you feel shortchanged?
Yes.
Did you pay too much for it?
No, I might well have done at the time when I originally had him, but this was one of those very early Transformers that I think I had.
1985.
I remember being a bit shortchanged by him. And I think the reason why was because he never showed up in the bloody comics or the bloody cartoons.
He's in the comics.
Yeah, so why was that? Why didn't he appear when he was G1, wasn't he? I mean, he was standard G1, but he didn't seem to get used a lot.
He turned up in season 2 of the cartoon.
Right. Okay. So
which we didn't get on terrestrial TV over here.
Right.
But it was in the Marvel comics. There's and it differs in the Marvel comics. Red Alert was created. No, it was created on Earth.
Was he? See, this is exactly what I mean. He wasn't a foreground Autobot, was he?
No, there was him. There was Trax. There was Hoist. There was Grapple. There was Inferno. I'm trying to remember. It was the cover, and it's like you have the beam on the cover of the comic. The beams going into the head to basically activate them. Yeah, but in the cartoon, Red Alert was kind of like a neurotic kind of character, and it was like he would panic and get anxious about certain situations and things like that. His name Red Alert was more really about his personality than what his function as a fire car, fire department car. It was like
it was like a Star Trek tie-in to my mind. Red Alert, Red Alert.
Yeah.
So I think that was so. But then I think I was very disappointed by the simple fact that he didn't then turn up in the comics or obviously, as you say, the cartoon for however long we didn't have it for. So it was like one of those ones where I think I'd assumed that because it was in the shops, it would appear in the comic. But of course, we were not always in sync because it was doing the US.
No. I mean, like I say, he came out. He was part of the 1985 assortment, which came out. Right. And so when he appeared in the Marvel UK comic, that's when the toys were out in the shops to buy. Yeah. So they always timed it very well. So you had the sort of like the product on the shelf for when the comic came out. So then the kids would be, oh, look, I like that character. Oh, there it is on the toy shelf. Let's go buy it, kind of thing. It's just it's a repaint of Sideswipe.
I know. Once you got it in hand, and ironically, I've actually got a Sideswipe downstairs, which again isn't anything special. It's just another sort of moderately decent one that I picked up. But I never had a Sideswipe. I remember getting Red Alert. Yeah. For some reason, but I think maybe I felt I'd made a mistake because Sideswipe and Sunstreaker were always in it massively, and Red Alert always seemed sidelined. So I just felt like I'd been sort of hard done to because it turned out he wasn't like a major figure.
Which is interesting because in the comic, Sideswipe and Sunstreaker were hardly used in the comics. In fact, Sunstreaker wasn't at all. Sunstreaker was just inactive. He was always on the repair bay. He never actually really.
Were they supposed to be twins? Because I always had it in my head that they were twins.
Yes,
Sunstreaker were. Yeah.
Yeah, Spark. No, is the term Spark twins? I think the term, well, that's retroactively applied to it.
Retroactively, yeah.
But there were twins.
They
They
were
were brothers.
described as brothers or something, weren't they? I
Yeah,
think
they were
at one
brothers,
point.
but they were referred to as the Lamborghini Countach twins. You know, the Lamborghini twins, but they were brothers, Sideswipe and Sunstreaker. Yeah.
And then they adopted a younger brother in the form of Red Alert.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
Red Alert's a
that
different
never
character,
got
even
made.
though they're the same. It's like Prowl and Blue Streak.
Well, thanks for joining us until now, Mutant. Take care, and I will be giving you a little sub later.
Catch you later. Toodaloo. So, but yeah, no, let's have a look at it. It actually looks in quite good condition.
He's not bad. Well, I try not to get completely wrecked ones. He's better on that side than that side. His sticker on the door there is a bit wrecked. But actually, sort of underneath, he doesn't look too shabby at all. He's got most of his stickers on the underneath.
Now, is it?
He's got his rub.
Where's his head?
There.
Oh, right. Yes, you've got it there. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a reissue Red Alert, or is it an original 80s one?
Well, I don't know. You might know better than I do. It doesn't look like a reissue to me because it's too basic to my mind.
No, they were reissued through Toys R Us in the early 2000s, so it might have a 2002 stamp on it somewhere.
I
don't know. I haven't analysed it in enough detail to know, to be honest.
I mean, to be fair, it doesn't matter. It's Red Alert, you know.
Yeah,
it's Red Alert, and it goes on your shelf, and it's enjoyable.
Funny enough, I've actually ordered his tech spec as well, just for chuckles.
All right,
that for me, because I like the tech specs because they added that depth of characters. So if you wanted to play with them as characters, I enjoyed the tech spec aspect of it. So so I've got that as well. Do you want to see the other totally random item I've picked up of late? See if you can figure out what that is. You will know, but.
Just that. It's obviously some kind of Matchbox Corgi thing. I want it, but it also looks like the tank from Terrahawks.
It is the tank from Terrahawks.
It is the tank from Terrahawks.
It's the Bandai. It's not one that I was familiar with, but I noticed it because eBay threw it up at me, as it often does. It's not complete because it's lacking the big Zeroids on here.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. It's all like it doesn't have the Zeroids on it.
It should have. But it was cheap because it doesn't have them. Because these are going for stupid money in boxes and all the rest of it. But the one that I remember was the little one that Battlehawk could pick up, and actually it went into Battlehawk, diecast Battlehawk. This is a standalone battle tank.
That's not the one that came in the 3-pack, is it?
I don't know. Did it? I don't think. I'm not sure if this was ever packaged with anything. You got Treehawk, Hawkwing, and Space Hawk. I think as a 3-pack.
Right.
But it's got its little hook there that you can swoop in with Battlehawk, pick it up and airlift it away again. But it's a classic Bandai. It's Bandai. So as you see, it is very, very metallic. It's got real heft to it, even though it's not huge. But the other one was much smaller. But I don't think I actually realised that they'd done this one. So when I spotted it, even though it's a little bit busted, I just thought it'd be quite nice to have it in hand. Just because it's. I remember the feel of the Battlehawk of the Terrahawks toys because they were so metallic at a time when it was starting to move away from that. Right. But it was so heavy and solid. I always cringe when I see ones that are sort of fixer-uppers on eBay because there are only certain bits you could break and you'd have to be trying fairly hard to break them. And then you see that people did, and it's like don't do that. But there's a boxed Battlehawk going for it's just dropped by £500. It's now the cheapest chips price of £4,500 to buy a Battlehawk in a box. Oh. It's like, come on, really? I mean, they're good, but they're not that good. I mean, that's a shining example of something that did dead end, of course. Although they have just released some new graphic novels for Terrahawks because it's an anniversary this year of Terrahawks. So Terrahawks is 40 years old this year, I believe. So the Jerry Anderson channel was doing a little bit of noise about it, as they do to sort of re-release stuff. But interesting thing to have in the hand again, even though I don't know it first time round, but it's Bandai. It's just interesting,
It's not something I'm even familiar with. Is Terrahawks. Never watched it.
The thing is that people are putting silly prices on them, but I don't know if anyone's paying the silly prices for them. But it was a nice range. It was a good range, and it was pretty much every ship of the Terrahawks that appeared in the show did get a toy. And being a Bandai toy, they were good quality toys in different scales on occasion as well.
Well, thanks to Eagle Moss, you can now say the same about Star Trek.
Yes. Yeah.
Although, are they toys?
Are they toys? I was going to say.
The models.
Yes, indeed.
They are models. Have you picked up anything recently then, Ed?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I have, yeah.
You have? You have?
Where do I start? All right, I'll get it out of the way. I'll use this one. Choose this one first. Latest issue of Crash magazine.
He'll say sorry.
Yeah, that came through the door. Well,
Spectrum!
Came through the letterbox on. What day did that come through? Anyway, it came through. I think it was Monday. I think that came through the letterbox. So that's the October-November issue. It's a little bit late, but it don't matter. But yeah, so that was recent. What else is there? Oh, I'm going to start small and work up because there were a few bits. I got this on Saturday. I got this. This was delivered to me as well on Saturday.
It certainly was. Yes,
I've got one of them.
Yeah. So that appeared on the Cosmic Toys video last Tuesday, and I saw it. I thought, right,
yeah,
I'll have that. I had one of them as a kid, so
and that's exactly why I got one again, because I remember I have very fond memories of that one from when I was little. Funnily enough.
Yeah. So, but I blame you, Andy, for this.
Yeah.
So I found myself looking at Matchbox and Corgi stuff. It's like, no. Step away.
To be fair, they are cheap to pick up.
Yeah.
Compared to the things you normally collect, the pennies.
Oh yeah. Right. So then next, we're working up in size. The third of 5 Dinobots arrived, the Legend scale. This
nice.
Swoop. And this is Swoop. And he's articulated like nobody's business. He's bags full of articulation.
That's also hilarious compared to the original G1s. It's like
and he's got these really gorgeous chrome-plated wings.
Wow.
Which is really impressive.
Pay attention.
So there we go. That's like impressive wingspan. And yes, he's actually in robot mode. I think he's maybe just a little bit bigger than the original G1 toy. But like in Pteranodon mode, he's a little bit bigger, I think. But yeah, articulation on that is just immense. It's amazing. So there'll be a review of him coming soon.
When I get around
to it. It's what? Sorry,
it's quite sexy.
It is nice. It is very nice. I haven't had him with the other Dinobots yet. Because, like I say, I'm going to do it when I review him. When I get round to that, I don't know if it's going to be before Christmas or after. To be fair, it comes with a rather nice flight stand as well.
Okay. Oh wow, cool.
They can put him on. The box is nice as well. There's a very G1 inspired aesthetic to the box.
Nice, yeah.
Legendary
heroes. TM.
But it's like it's all.
It should have tech specs on the back of it.
Yeah, I think
that would involve cutting the box.
They only skirt so much with the And then the next thing. Now this is sexy. Is this? This is just beautiful. Look at
Jazz.
that.
Oh, you already had that.
Not this one. I don't have
Not
this
that one, obviously.
This is the fully branded up Martini Racing
Okay.
colour scheme. Look at that. I mean, that is just absolutely gorgeous.
That is a thing of beauty, isn't it? Wow.
I mean,
Is it big, or is that?
Is it what?
Is it? How big is that compared to G1 sort of size? Then is that
about 1/24 scale?
When he's transformed, he looks like that.
Well, you have two of them.
No, this is the right. This is Fans Toys Jazz or Jive. They call him Jive. Fans Toys Jive. This was the first release. This is FT48, which is basically the animation style. So it's quite plain. It's quite bland, you know, because it's to match how he appears in the cartoon.
Got you.
So then, back end of last week, they released the toy deco version. So this is decorated to look like the G1 toy. So if you just bear with me a moment. Fall down the bloody ladders.
I just fell down the the floor.
Yeah. So here we go. This is Jazz.
Is that the first time that's been off your shelf for a long time?
Yes, this hasn't been off. Oh no, actually no, it was off the shelf a couple of weeks ago because I was going around dusting and tidying up. Okay. But yeah, so this is to emulate. So as you can see, Andy, he is quite bigger.
Yeah, he's quite a lot bigger, isn't he? But that's supposed to get the articulation, and you've got to do something, haven't you? I mean,
yeah, well, it's masterpiece scale. So yeah, it's maybe about a 1/24th, I would say.
I wouldn't say that. Would you say it's about the size as the alternators?
No, smaller. He's smaller than the alternator.
I think the alternators were 1/24th, weren't they?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, when he transforms, he's, you know, that it looks like that, but he's got all that detailing on.
Jazz has realised his full potential.
You know, so it
was that a Digimon thing?
But yeah, I just keep staring
at
it.
Referring back to earlier.
I mean, that's
nice.
like a not just the toy, but that's a vision from childhood. Is that, you know?
Can't get me Red Alert's arms out, but that's what he looks like when he's.
Yeah, you've not transformed him correctly.
I know.
Yeah, so like I remember having a poster of this. It's the Porsche 935 Turbo. I remember having a poster of this as a kid, and it's like, you know, they're just these cars from, like the Lamborghini. You know, they're just cars from childhood that young boys back then used to idolize and, you know, and lust after.
Well, I believe you are now answering Gap's question from earlier.
Which is what? Yeah, mine get the only time I play with them is when I transform them or review them. But other than that, yeah, it just it's on the shelf in the box. You know, it's so yeah. So that's is that? Oh yeah, that's the box. I'll just show you the box for it. So that's the box.
He's playing with his now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't transform him for toffee. His arms won't come out for some reason. I'm going to do that not on a stream because I'll just end up breaking it.
Yeah, don't do that.
So that's the box for that. I think that's that's it. I think he said disappearing. Yeah, there you go, Andy. There's side swipe for you.
There's side swipe, yeah.
There's side swipe for you. But yeah, the arms, the pull out at the shoulder.
No,
but then the arms they just like flip upwards from the door panels. So
yeah, I can bring his arms there, but it's his shoulders that are the issue at the moment.
Oh right, yeah. So yeah, and that's my pickups. Yeah, that's me done. Yeah.
Okay.
That's me done. I don't. I have some other pre-orders, but I'm quite happy for them to wait until after Christmas.
Hmm.
I'm in no rush for them.
But they will come when they come.
Yeah. Oh, actually, no. One is due, but I'll save that and I'll show that next in a
time.
fortnight's time.
Okay.
I've got one that's due as well, but we'll see if it actually pops up or not.
Oh, really? Okay, fair enough.
It's been due for ages, and I've suddenly got an invoice for it. It's like, I don't want to pay that now. All right, then.
I suspect it's the one that you've got due. It might be the same one that I've got due. It is,
Oh,
isn't it?
oh, okay.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, yeah.
Big X.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the
Spoiler.
air of mystery here, Gareth.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
been
not-
mentioning it for
I'm not
about 3
confirming or
months
denying
now.
anything. So,
You know, sometimes it's like working with Jeremy Clarkson, and it's just like, bleh. Anyway, have you got anything?
I got a handful of Mighty Maxes, and
Right.
that's about it. Yeah. I did get one job lot, which turned out to be useless, to be honest with you. I was looking at in fact, they came. I was going to show them last time, and they were all out here on the counter in front of me, and I was trying to fix them all up and put the right pieces with the right sets, and I realised while we was actually streaming that none of them were complete. they were all mission mashed. I got them from a charity shop on eBay. I paid too much, but I have got. Let's put me on big screen. I haven't been on big screen yet. Oh, I wanted to be big, and now I'm big. I've got one of the smaller ones. It's the Android one.
yeah.
I do love these things, and I do play with them from time to time. That bit there's your bigger monster. And you've got a little robot. He's quite cool.
Yeah.
And obviously you have to have your little Max. This is the first one I've got with a blue hat. That's your little play set, some kind of computer type room, robot place. I don't know. What would you call it? What would you call it?
Console.
There's a dinosaur type one. I like this one. So open the jaws, and you've actually got like a Stegosaurus looking. It's not a Stegosaurus, but it's something like a Stegosaurus in very fantasy colours. A caveman type guy with his club. They have all got names, but I'll be buggered if I know. And another blue-hatted Max, strangely enough. I haven't had a proper look at them yet.
What's the actual count on these? How many were released?
I have no idea at the moment. I think they did about 5 series of them.
Oh right, gosh.
And how many per series?
There were about, I think, 6 of that kind of size, and then about 4 of the smaller ones, I think, per series. I'm not sure, but there were also the little ones as well, the really small one, and then you got your bigger sets. But the big ones, there was Dragon Island, Skullmaster, which is a head of Skullmaster, and the Skull Mountain, which is a big bright red mountain. I'm not too fussed over those. They're too big. They take away the whole point of being able to pop it in your pocket. I do like the skull one because it's a nice sculpt, and I might have that sort of like as a central piece to the rest of the. Oh no, there was another one as well. There was one in the shape of a spaceship, a black spaceship with purple wings. That were another big one. And I've got this chap, which is some kind of sea monster. I like this one. This one's got some charm. I like this one. Sticking its tongue out. But the tongue is like a water snake, like an anaconda-looking thing.
I'm seeing a pattern developing here. Yes.
Yeah. And I've no idea what kind of monster that's supposed to be. But you've got your generic Max inside there. With his normal red hat on.
The good thing is, if you know what you're looking for, you can immediately tell if it's missing that inside monster, can't you? Because it sticks out on the inside. So, yeah.
One thing that seems to be quite common as a theme amongst them all is that there's... Put it back together the right way around, it'll help, won't it? There's always a bit of one of the creatures inside that sticks outside.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
on that one, obviously, there's two. You've got your crab-like bone monster sticking out there, as well as the tongue. On that, you've got the crest of the dinosaur's back coming out as the front of the nose. On the Android one, I have to take those bits down quickly. That sticks out of the middle of the head. And it becomes part of the design of the actual outside.
Yeah, it's cleverly done. It's cleverly blended.
It is.
Yeah.
And then that's the larger one of them, which is Max Squisher's Fly. And I think, again, there's two parts of this one. You've got the fly creature, its wings are the wings of the fly. Then you've also got a cybernetic fly creature bug, which make up the legs of the fly as well. Quite cool. Now, I think, was this one missing the Max? Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, this one was missing the Max, but I do have a load of spare Maxes from that job lot that I got, that I mentioned earlier, so I can complete it. And that's your little, out of the way, microphone. That's your little alien bug creature in this one.
Cool.
Essentially just a blob with big green eyes. I love them. I do. I think they're... They just speak to the inner child.
Well, there's been a lot of care put into that as well as from a design point of view, because they didn't have to go to that much effort, let's face it. But someone gave a damn when they produced those.
Yeah. Just put these back.
They are made by Bluebird, who did Mantaforce.
Mantaforce.
You know what I'm like for Mantaforce.
I know.
I do like me some Mantaforce.
So do they actually scale with Mantaforce then?
You know, not really put them together, but looking at the size of Max and knowing that he's a school kid, then a full-grown man beside him would be about the size of Mantaforce. So yeah, I suppose that is as tall as a Mantaforce figure. And there's your Max. So yeah, I would say so.
Okay, so they are scaled to each other as well then. Yeah,
I mean, obviously these were actually more the boys' version of Polly Pockets.
Yeah.
They are cool trinkets. Yeah, that's all they are. That's all they are. And I know that they're not modern at all, but they're a bit modern for what you guys probably would appreciate. I get that. I know that. But they speak to me from playing with Mantaforce. They really do. I would have played with these with my Mantaforce had I had them as a kid.
What year did they come out, Mighty Max?
Mighty Max, it was 92, I think. 91, 92.
Yeah.
Where's the first? That's 92.
Right. I was playing with other things in 1992.
I bet you were.
They weren't toys.
Well, I was 9 years old then.
Were you?
9 years old, yeah. But I can't remember these from when I was around that age. I can remember them from a little bit later, maybe, from when I would no longer have been playing with toys. But I can't remember them from then. It's really, really strange.
I remember seeing Polly Pockets because there were someone I worked with. Their kids had the Polly Pocket stuff.
Right.
You know, I remember seeing those. But I'll be honest with you, I have no memory or recollection of ever seeing Mighty Maxes. You know, so
Polly Pockets did come first,
right?
Although they also lasted a lot longer,
right?
Mighty Max, I think it was 3 or 4 years, whereas Polly Pocket they They lasted sort of like from late 80s till late 90s.
Right. Did they do a larger scale of Polly Pocket as well?
More recently, yeah.
Ah, right.
The current range is a larger scale. Well, the figures are probably twice the size.
Right.
And they call them polystick because they've got gummy feet and they'll stick to the base in an effort to try and stop you losing them.
All right. Okay.
So that's kind of like what Starcom did back in the day, then, to giving them magnetic feet to stick to the spaceships, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, they did. Yes, Starcom. Yeah,
again, bizarrely for me, I never owned any of them.
I had one Starcom figure that I picked up. It would have probably been 86. I think it would have been. I was on holiday, and we went to a place called Falmouth, and I got Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Snake Eyes, and I had some change left. And as I was coming out, it was a Toy Master shop that was in Falmouth, but it was a franchised out one. It wasn't actually a main one. And as I was coming out the toy shop, I saw the Starcom stuff, and it was just like a black suit with a gold helmet. I can't even recall what it was called, and it had like this grey gun with a black tube on it and that. And I was like, "Oh, I can afford to get it," so I just picked that up. I don't ever recall playing with it. I think it was just one of those things that I had a bit of money left. It was a summer holiday, so it would have been. It was the summer of '86, so it was before I started high school. So it would have been. That would have been probably one of in the. There's like a clump that together, probably with some of the last toys that I got before I stopped getting toys. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only Starcom I had or have any recollection of. You know.
How big were the Starcom figures? Because I don't think I've ever seen them.
Probably about so big.
Oh, so they were quite small.
Yeah, they were quite small. I don't think the actual toys were huge. You weren't Star Wars size toys, you know.
They're probably about 2 inch, maybe about 2 inch.
I'm just looking now and I can't see one that was black and gold.
Black and gold.
Let me see. I'll find you it. He said.
The only reason I know a little bit more is that back in the day when I was compiling cartoon intros, I came across a Starcom video and got the intro from that. So that's how I knew a little bit about them, but not any more than that, really. And I doubt that got a mainstream. I doubt the cartoon got a mainstream release here. That looks like a candidate.
No. It is. Just hang on a minute. Let me get my thing up, so to speak. For now. There we go. It's that one.
Right. Okay.
That's the one.
Is that not the same one? Is that not the same one that I just had up in the packet?
I don't know. Get yours back up again.
Oh, I can't now. It's gone. Is it? So what? Oh, you've got. No, it is different.
There was another one there that was a guy in a similar outfit rather than a sort of cyborgy chap.
Yeah, it was Shadow Forces.
Oh, that's the actual name, Shadow Forces. Oh well, strangely enough, this one's a Shadow Force as well.
Yeah, there's Shadow Raider there, isn't there, as well? That's
General Torvek I've got here of the Shadow Forces.
They remind me a bit of Mask, actually.
Yeah, I think they're about the same size by the look of it.
Let's see if there's some. Let's have a look. Yeah, I was right. 2 inch. They were 2 inch, 5 centimeters in height.
Okay.
So yeah, they were only equal. And mask figures were 2 inch as well.
I wonder if it's the same production company then.
I don't know, but
No, it was Kenner, wasn't it, for Mask?
the thing with mask toys,
Who's Starcom by?
the thing with mask toys that amazes me now is how thin, flimsy, and cheap they look and feel now compared to how they were viewed as a kid.
Mm.
Yeah.
They were by Coleco. Lobot got there just before me.
Coleco. Oh, the makers of the Coleco Vision. Sorry, I had a bit of a respectful Horace glitch there.
Tell you, it's on the back of his head.
On the back of his head, I know. You were going to say that.
I'm wearing my hat because I need to cut my hair, so it's like
Yeah, I can see it. It's all halfway down your back.
it's getting in my eyes. So yeah, so Starcom. What were we saying about Starcom anyway? Was there something? Was it going somewhere? Oh, magnetic feet, sticky feet.
Yes, that's where it came from. Sorry, yes.
Pocket sticky feet. Is it sticky like the things you used to be able to get that you threw at the windows, like the octopuses, and they'd like roll down the.
I remember them. Yeah.
Gap wants us to show his video.
Robbie the Robot.
Can we do
I had a
that?
Robbie the Robot toy as a kid.
Subscriptions. I can't get it from your link.
Very iconic robot, Robbie, bless him. Later reused in Lost in Space.
Mm.
And others probably as well, actually, I suspect. Can't remember where else he showed up, but
Robbie the Robot. He was. He makes a brief appearance in Gremlins.
does he?
Yeah, when Rand Peltzer's at the science
Can we
fair.
not make this big sized?
Probably.
No, that's not what I wanted to do at all.
What's that? What are you wanting to do?
He wants to maximise that a
I
bit
just want
more.
that to be bigger, that's all. It seems to be only showing. Hang on, I know. Is that slightly better? No?
Hasn't affected it in the real world.
Right.
you know.
What's Gap's channel? What's it called?
Gap After Dark, isn't it?
That's it. That's bigger now.
Is that bigger now?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Right, well, we'll give it a play for him then.
Forbidden Planet, light and sound walking Robbie the Robot. Here he comes.
Oh, that's why it's a short. That's why.
Cool.
Yeah. Look at that. That's brilliant.
Awesome.
Welcome to Altair Hall, gentlemen. I am to transport you to the residence. For your convenience, I am monitored to respond to the name Robbie.
Drat and blast! I'm foiled by the carpet.
Robbie.
That's probably more articulation he had than in the film.
That's pretty cool. Isn't it?
This is the back of the robot.
Yeah, the special effects designers spent all the money on the front of the robot.
Yeah.
Forbidden Planet, light and sound walking Robbie the Robot.
Oh, we're starting again.
Yep.
Very good.
No, that's brilliant. Is that? I'm going to call you Robbie then. That's brilliant. Is that Gap? Brain fart.
No, that's very impressive.
I like the lights.
The actual voice, the voice samples are really good as well. That is film accurate.
He does walk on hard surfaces.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think
First ever moonwalk shuffle. Every day he's shuffling.
I think the carpet hindered him somewhat
Ever so slightly.
Here we go. So, Robbie the Robot, where are we now? Let's have a look. This is for Andy. There he is, appearing in Gremlins.
Gremlins, bless him.
I love the little switchy things in his head, you know, that like
Off a typewriter.
Actually, he did get a bit of a comeback in the modern Lost in Space film, didn't he? Because they did do a sort of, there was like a throwback version of him or something that came in later in the film.
it was with the disc head. The
Yeah.
disc head. No,
Yeah.
go away. No, shh.
So
Quiet.
it was more like Lost in Space, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking the wrong one. I bet he
Yeah.
showed up as like an evil robot in Lost in Space, something. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so originally in the movie, he starts off as kind of like a sleek looking kind of like rounded thing with things,
Yeah.
and then he gets
Come on.
damaged, and then Will builds him back with the more traditional like domed head
Yeah.
appearance, like
That's
taking-
right. I'm thinking of the wrong one. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, from the original '60s show.
Yeah.
Danger, Will, and I had a toy version of that as well as a kid. That would back me up.
I crossed the streamers on that one a bit. Sorry.
No, it happens. It's like memories all mingle into one and get mashed about.
That's nice. Is that's Robbie the Robot? Might have made me desire one. You know, we do accept donations. If you ever
Pay
look
for
at
your own
someone
bloody
to
toys.
store it,
Pay for your own bloody toys. Don't
you
send us
cheeky
freebies.
bugger,
We
I had a
don't need
gift to
them.
bring up for you on Saturday as well. You can
It's
sod
what,
it
sorry?
now. I had a
What's
gift to bring up for you. You can sod it now. You've no
What,
chance.
this Saturday?
Yeah.
No, you're a friend. I'm not. We don't accept gifts from viewers.
Wait, you should have a prezi from me for you as well.
I do. I need to remember to take that. I need to
That's
remember
why
to
I've
take
just
that.
reminded
Yes.
Yeah, you've opened a bloody box of worms there, Andy.
Bye.
Well, I've actually got one for you.
It's like, crap. I'm going
There
to
was,
buy a
there
bloody
was
present
something
now.
I had in my mind. There was something I had in my mind, Andy, that I was going to pitch to you to offer your viewers to buy as merch to add revenue to your channel.
That was convoluted.
And then I was like, hang on a minute, that would be great for him anyway. So I've had one. There's one coming for you. I'm not going to spoil it. There's one coming for you. I've got that. I need to wrap it. And then if you do like it, you can always start offering it as merch on your channel.
I'm with you. Okay, got you. I'm caught up now. Funny enough, I used to do
wearing
it.
lipstick. No, I'm not wearing lipstick. I'm not wearing lipstick. I just have wonderful, luscious lips.
No, it was the cat's bumhole that was wearing the lipstick.
It rubbed off.
I did used to do a sideline back in the day. Actually, there was a very cool picture of one Diane.
Gave you a spanner gap. There is fair.
That, I made a T-shirt out of.
What did you say? I had a friend get me that because it was a Walmart exclusive. Oh, was it now?
Oh, no, right.
Oh, well, never mind. I did have in the...
Or as we pronounce it here, Asda.
Asda, yeah. I had in the... Diamond
It's not
Select
owned by
one
Walmart anymore.
years ago. What's that, sorry?
Asda. It's not owned by Walmart anymore. It was bought
Is it
out.
not?
No.
No, it's the Patel brothers or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Biggest corner shop in the world. Really good sound on Robbie the Robot. Nice and clear, not muffled like
yeah.
most.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. It's the lighting, darling.
Yeah, no, it's like.
Your lips are quite pinkish lip gloss. No, it's not. It was. It'd rub off, wouldn't it? Nothing there.
No, actually,
Nothing there.
with him saying like sound emitting toys, I'm gonna mention it again, but I remember that the Dalek I had, the talking Dalek, the Palatoy one, and that were brilliant. Was that because it's like it were obviously you could hear the scratchy noises as it operated. You're like, and you could hear the motor whirring round, and then it'd be just like a kind of like coming out of it. It wasn't. It was the same with the talking R2D2 that I had as well, the Palatoy one. That were the same. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Oh. Here he comes.
Have you got batteries in it?
No.
No.
Never tested it.
It'd be two double A's, I think it takes.
They have very nice, clean contacts.
Is it 2 or 3 double A's?
Two.
2. See,
Oh, they're
good
very
memory.
nice and clean, are those? I don't think
Yeah,
you
get
said
some
one
batteries
back,
in it.
did
Get some batteries in it and give us a demonstration.
I haven't got any batteries to hand.
Take them out your other toy.
I need them for later. What about batteries? That's plugged into mains, baby.
Maybe you could hollow one of your Daleks out and it could be like a Dalek light.
No. I haven't got anything with batteries. No.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. That's what we should do. We should do an episode where we show off a load of electronic toys. No Spectrums.
Joe, haven't you? I
They're
don't think
not toys,
I have
they're
any electronic
computers.
toys.
We were all thinking it. Well, we went there. No, I'm not wearing makeup. The only
Oh,
times
pale
I
hats,
wore
anyway.
makeup. 4 times in my life, 5 times in my life I've worn makeup. 3 of them I dressed up as the Joker. 1 of them I dressed up as Ghost Rider. And then the other time was when I dressed up as it was a murder mystery evening. And the part I was playing was a Hollywood star playing an Arabian prince. So I was essentially dressing up as Peter O'Toole as Lawrence of Arabia. So I had bronzer all over my face. I do have a photograph of somewhere, and I dare say that if that made it out onto the public now, I would be seen as blackface.
You're like Justin Trudeau.
Yes. Yeah. Give that Dalek a whirl.
So Wolverine. There we go. What's your favourite electronic toy?
That's a good question. Good question.
That's a very good question. Electronic toy.
Favorite electronic toy.
Well, I mean, I'll rattle a couple off. From childhood, there would have been the Gargon from Action Man. Yeah, Tomitronic. Yeah, guys, it's Tomitronic.
Is that a
there'd be
toy?
Gargon. There'd have been the Dalek and the R2 that I've spoken about as well. It's got to be Big Track.
Big track, yeah.
Got to be Big Track.
Yeah.
Starbird was a bit electronic. Robotics.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Starbird. Yeah, that had. Well, it made lights. Yeah, didn't it have a light at the front and then made noises as well, didn't it?
It did. I've not shown you my Starbirds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you may have done once or twice.
Yeah, we've seen your Starbirds.
Haven't seen the light of day for a while now. I've been very controlled.
Simon Says.
Simon Says.
Speak and spell.
Yeah, Speak and Spell. No, that's Stephen Hawking.
Do you remember being very excited when Product Enterprise brought out the first remote control Daleks?
Yeah, I had a remote control Dalek.
I had a remote controlled kit. That was cool.
Oh yeah, remote control cars. I used to have remote control cars as a kid.
Lobot
They were
says
awesome.
Kongman. I know exactly what he means.
What's that?
Kongman. Oh, Screwball Scramble.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now, I
no,
think-
no, I don't know if that one was battery operated, but Rock and Roll Maze was.
Right. I can remember Atomic Pinball coming out.
Yeah, I've got one of those at the shop.
I remember that coming out.
Tommy's Super Cup final, Super Cup football says Jumpy. Ski Electrics Le Mans 24-hour with working headlights. I've actually got one of those Super Cup footballs at the shop as well. I can't get it working though.
A cousin of mine had one called Electronic Jimmy, which was a football playing game. And it was essentially the case of it was in the shape of a football stadium.
Right.
And it was just green card with the outline of the pitch, and it had red lights for the different playing positions. And you used to press a sequence of buttons at each side, and it would like pass the ball, and you'd score goals and stuff like that. Rough Riders, Jumpy's put Rough Riders, yeah.
Lights Alive. That's one that I played with a hell of a lot.
Lightsaber.
A lightsaber, yeah.
I remember having a Knight Rider, Rough Rider, because he had the little gear stick at the top to make it. You had like 2 speeds, but the Knight Rider one, the scanner light used to light up red as well.
Do Game and Watchers count?
Yeah, electronic toys. So, like, what are you thinking? Super Mario Brothers and things like that. Not
Yeah,
Super Mario Brothers.
Donkey Kong and
Yeah.
things like that.
Donkey Kong, yeah. Zaxxon. I've still got it, but it's packed away. Zaxxon, Bandai, Zaxxon. I had that.
Oh, yeah, Zoids are in there. Yeah. There were battery powered Zoids. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Zoidzilla and Red Horn. Gore, sorry. Crack.
Great Gorgon.
Great Gorgon. Mammoth.
The actual power Zoids as well.
Yeah.
Serpent and Tank or whatever his name was.
Yeah, there were loads of electronic stuff.
Mhm.
But it was always the thing that 9 times out of 10, you'd get these electronic toys for Christmas, but you wouldn't get the batteries.
Batteries not included.
Yeah. It's like, right, okay. We'll have to wait until the new year to play with that, because when I was a kid, the shops didn't open.
Oh,
at
there was
Christmas.
I think you're going to know what I mean as well, Eddie. There was a car or a truck that I had as a kid. And I can remember it having non-working, I think they were non-working lights across the top of them, but it had a big handle on top that you would press to make it move forward and angle it back to make it move backwards, like a big shift stick on top of it.
Oh, now then.
I think it was like a black, big 4x4 truck.
Right, it could either be part of what were called the Bigfoot. Like there was Bigfoot, that was it. But there was other trucks in that range. But then there was also something called, I think they were called Monster Machines, and they were made by Galoob. And it could be maybe a monster machine.
I'm thinking of Bigfoot.
Right.
I don't know why I'm thinking the handle was bigger than what it was, but then again, I was a lot smaller at the time.
Yeah, Bigfoot, yeah.
There's always that. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it, Jumpy. There we go. I had Zaxxon, CBS, ColecoVision, better than Spectrum. Yeah, it's possible. But interestingly, Jumpy, the ColecoVision used the same processor as the Spectrum, the Z80. So the internal hardware was the same. Anyway, let's turn my head back around the other way.
Other electronic toys.
Just to go full circle a little bit, apparently some news broke just as we were going live-ish. Russell T. Davies teases controversial events in Doctor Who The Giggle that will rock the world. There will be controversial events in The Giggle. I unroll a whole new Doctor Who mythology for you based around the events taking place. It will rock the world. It's a whole new way of looking at the history of Doctor Who, and I can't wait to see the reaction, because the reactions have been so good so far, haven't they?
It was all a game.
I wonder if this has something to do with the rumour that the Doctor was going to buy Regenerate.
Yeah, regenerate into 2 bodies.
Yeah, so you still have Tennant's Doctor, but you also have Shooty's Doctor.
Well, there's been a lot of talk that there's a scene of William Hartnell's Doctor, CGI, not David Bradley.
All right.
CGI William Hartnell Doctor. So I wonder if he's going to regenerate into William Hartnell.
So will it then be called Doctor 2?
Well, no, actually, it's going to be more Doctor You.
Oh, I say. Right, okay. Sorry to bring us back full circle to where we started.
No, it's fine.
But...
No, because I mean, like I said, that rumor, I think it's a couple of months back. I think that rumor came out about the bi regeneration, you know, and like him splitting into 2, which, if that does happen, that kind of makes me feel a bit like we've still got Tennant's 14th Doctor on hand to get us out of the shit if we need to. You know.
Well, his daughter's still knocking around somewhere, presumably, as well.
Oh, he married her. He's popped her up a couple of times. But no, electronic toys. So yeah, I think like I would say the back end of the 70s and 80s, there was a big explosion of electronic toys. You know, I think that's when they were really popular, especially with, you know, like trying not to go down too far down, but like with the microchips and stuff like that, you know, putting more microchips in toys and having them do more, you know, like you said, with the things like your big track, you know, and you know, because it just opened up a whole new thing for toys and that. Yeah, yeah,
a little bit more modern, but sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, that's an electronic toy. Yeah,
and probably the biggest selling electronic toy of the last maybe 10 years until 5 years ago, and that would be the Ben 10 watch, the Omnitrix.
Oh, interesting.
That was huge.
Was it?
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Ben 10 was massive, wasn't it?
It was. Thing. Yeah.
Oh,
if there's anything that's going to be a kid's toy that's been out in recent years that's going to be huge in the future, it's Ben 10. I'm sure of it.
So,
but interestingly, things like Starbird and stuff don't seem to have much interest, despite them being quite early electronic toys. I mean, do you find that, Gareth? Do you get much demand for stuff like that?
No one's ever really asked.
No, it's interesting, isn't it?
So another couple we've got here, Andy, which, you know, I'm surprised I forgot really, but you've got, so let's see, we've got Major Morgan. That's an electronic toy. You've got the Omnibot and the Omnibot 2000.
Oh, the Omnibots, yes.
Which
Never had
them. I really wanted an Omnibot 2000 as a kid, but they were just too expensive.
Yeah.
And then something you have, the Megatron.
Oh yes, of course it was powered. Yeah.
That was
Omega Supreme.
Yeah, Omega Supreme. There was also as well. It was a repurpose of another toy. This hasn't come up on my Google search. This is one that I had this as a kid, but I can't remember the name of the original toy. Oh, actually, no, I do. It's come back to me now. ROM Space Knight. That was an electronic toy because it had the backpack, and you press the button on its back, and it used to light up its thing. Well, they repurposed those and remolded them, and they made 2 12-inch Battlestar Galactica figures out of them.
Didn't the AT-AT have a light?
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon.
The handles.
TIE Fighter. X-Wing.
Yeah.
Unless you're one of those poor souls that got one of the early X-Wings that didn't have lights and sound. Yeah, the Millennium Falcon, that had lights and sound. The Snow Speeder.
Yes. It was funny because I was literally just thinking. Were the Star Wars toys too early to have that, and then it gradually was starting to filter back to me. Actually, no, they did have it because yeah.
Oh, there's the Marx Bump and Go Dalek from 1964, 5.
Right.
What happened with those? Do I have dim memories now with Dalek that went back and forth? I don't know.
Armatron. The Armatron. That was battery operated.
Hmm.
So yeah, it looks like there's quite, and obviously then you've got your desktop LED games, aren't you? Stuff like Firefox and that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Astro Wars, you know, those types of games. And then early to mid 80s, you're then probably one of the best electronic toys or battery operated toys, the Walkman.
Is that a toy? Is that really a toy?
Only if it transforms into a warrior robot.
You would play stuff on it.
Have we met anyone famous from Doctor Who?
No, I think Jenna Coleman once whizzed past me in a convention in I want to say Blackpool, but not enough to say hello to or anything.
No.
Mm.
I met oh bloody hell, what's the names? I can't remember the names of the actors now. But from the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
The actors that played Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent. I was only a kid. It was yes.
Don't panic.
It was we were on holiday in Cornwall and we were at a place called Carlisle Bay and they were there filming some scenes.
Oh yes.
On the beach. I've got some photographs. I've got all the old photographs from my mum's the other day, and I've been going through them. And there's a few photos in there, like you know. So, and a few Christmas ones as well that may come useful for the next episode.
Oh, excellent! Excellent. I've met. I mean, the one I'm most pleased of having met was Nicholas Courtney, who played the Brigadier.
Oh wow!
And
nice.
I've met two of the Doctors, Colin Baker and Tom Baker.
Excellent.
But probably the best one's Philip Hinchcliffe, who most people won't recognise the name, but he was the producer on the show through most of Tom Baker's era.
Oh wow!
And he walked into my shop one day.
Oh, brilliant!
Was the door not open?
Well, he walked through the door into my shop. He'd seen the Dalek in the window, and he wanted to have a closer look at it because he said it looked better than the ones that they used to use on Doctor Who. And
right.
It was funny because as he walked in, I was like, I know that face. I know that face. Where do I know that face from? And then as soon as he said, it looks better than the ones we used to use on Doctor Who, it was like penny dropped. And I was like, you're Philip Hinchcliffe. And he's like, he looked surprised that I would know.
Yeah.
And he went, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so pleased to meet you. It's like, it's my Spielberg, isn't it? So, yeah, that was fun. That was fun. We had about a 20, 30-minute chat in the shop. Well, I'm trying to keep eye contact with him whilst also looking around to see if there's anything that I've got that I could ask him to sign, but nothing, unfortunately. But it was nice to see him. But that's it. That's it. And I
would have liked to have met Sir Clive Sinclair.
Right.
I'd like to have met him. Actually, I'm going to throw a question out to you and the viewers.
No, he didn't.
Hey? What?
Lobot says, I bet he got a coffee.
Who would you like to meet? Either dead or alive?
Who would I like to meet?
Like I said, either dead or alive.
Who would I like to meet, either dead or alive? It's a good question. I don't know.
I'd probably like to meet Patrick Stewart at some point, but I rather suspect sadly my time's probably running a bit low on that one. But
and you don't live in LA.
Well, I'm sure he visits from. He's got a Huddersfield connection, of course. So
he's from Murfield.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know he used to work in a certain shop in Dewsbury?
Hmm.
He used to work in my shop
Did he?
Yes,
Oh, when it were Hudson's.
that's right.
Oh wow!
And I think he also spent a brief time working for the Reporter, either Reporter or
Right.
Yorkshire Post as well.
Cool.
Aye.
Lobot says John Wayne.
John Wayne. Yeah, man.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked to have talked to Isaac Asimov at some point because I was a massive fan of his, possibly Nicholas Fisk as well. Actually,
Oh, take care, Jumpy. Look after yourself, mate.
I
See you
jump
later, Jumpy. All the best.
If you met David Tennant, what would you say to him on his current run?
Why?
What the fuck are you playing at? What's the point, mate?
The thing is, though, I would suspect that he's on board with it because
definitely.
it's like I
Definitely.
think the majority, not all, but I think the majority of these acting types, I think it plays in there of that ilk that it's like kind of like their politics or their political social view of the world. Yeah. Because it's always these actors and lovey types that are trying to spearhead all these bloody tree hugging causes and stuff like that, you know. So maybe he'd just be down with it.
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
they've always liked to tell us how to live, don't they? Because they're looking down from their ivory towers and they've got a different view on the world.
Yeah. But then again, if I were getting paid what he were getting paid, I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Screw my principles, give me the money.
Who would I have liked to meet? I don't know.
Delgado?
I don't know. I was trying to think of someone not related to what I'm interested in, to be honest with you. I was trying to think of someone, you know, someone who you could ask a certain question of and the answer might change your outlook on life. Or it might have some impact on you. If we're talking about just people that like that from a TV show, yeah, definitely Roger Delgado, John Pertwee, Patrick Troughton. I would be interested to meet William Hartnell and just say, this is what's become of what you've created. What do you think of it?
Yeah. It's unusual because obviously nowadays you might live long enough to see a bit of that because Patrick Stewart probably has.
Yeah.
You know, it's come full circle for him effectively.
I mean, we know what William Shatner thinks of where Star Trek's at. He doesn't like it, does he? He's not happy with where it's at the moment.
Well, Kirk will Kirk.
Yeah. No, interesting. I don't know.
Like I say, I suppose it would depend on what you'd want to get out of the conversation and why you'd be doing it. You know, it's there's a lot of people in history, you know, with entertainment or stuff like that you could you could sit and have a. I tell you something.
That's one episode of Doctor Who I do love.
What's that?
That's an episode of Doctor Who I do love, and it gets me every single time. The Vincent Van Gogh one with Matt Smith.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that is a good episode, yeah.
Because I am a fan of Van Gogh, and I've read a lot about him, and he did have a tortured life. And he wasn't appreciated whatsoever during his lifetime. None of his work was liked by anyone. He was lucky if he could get a bottle of wine for one of his paintings. So when he does take him to the future and show him how he's appreciated in the future, and you see, obviously it's the actor's portrayal, it gets me every single time.
Yeah.
It really does. That is good writing.
Yeah.
It's probably the last instance of good writing in Doctor Who.
I think I'd go for Eric Morecambe would be on my list. He'd be one of them. He's my comedy hero, is Eric Morecambe. People like Laurel and Hardy as well. I'd fancy a chat with them. I tell you what would be interesting.
Well, you've got Hardy.
what would be interesting is sort of like is maybe getting historical people, figures, famous people from history that maybe. I mean, well, Red Dwarf touched on this, with their episode with regards to the Kennedy assassination. Basically, if you could chat with famous people from history that suffered or something happened to them, and so and showed them what had happened, and then like chat with them and say, look, would you still go through with this knowing what you know now, kind of thing, and whether or not they would, sort of like, so. Maybe you give them the opportunity to change history. Would they take it, or would they see what's happened since and think, well, yeah, okay, I'm still going to let history take its course and let it happen, because of look at all the good that's come from it, if you know what I mean.
Ed, that sounds like a most excellent adventure.
Well, I like to party on.
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah.
You dirty boy.
Give me that little black book, love. I'll look after it for you. It ain't going to see the light of day, so give it to me, and I will help you out. I will make sure you are avenged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one regarding little black books. What's his name? The guy who didn't hang himself in prison.
Epstein,
that's the one, yeah.
Yeah. Jeffrey.
That's
Jeffrey Epstein. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be going for all these. There's me looking for justice for all these people. Yeah. Kennedy.
Oh, but then again, actually, bring it more back on topic. If you could go back in time, then what toy or collectible would you go back and pick up to have for your collection in the present day?
Well, I'd do what Nicholas Lyndhurst did. And just keep bringing them back and selling them. Good night, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Just one. Just one. Rocket Fire in Boba Fett.
Yeah, but they never went on sale. No, a toy that went on sale. Yeah.
Interesting.
Lobot says it's a good question.
I know it's a bloody good question. I'm previewing it from season 4.
Really?
The test audience. Interesting. I mean, I'm quite interested in the some of the sort of early Mego stuff.
All right.
So like the Buck Rogers Starfighter. I don't know. Did they do a Viper as well? And there was an early Space 1999 Eagle. I think that was Mattel, wasn't it? There was like a sort of a big sort of toy playsetty type one.
Wasn't it just a cockpit or something like that?
No, it was. I think it was a full one, but it was it was quite big.
Oh, but it was just a single seater, wasn't it? You just put one.
Maybe, maybe. What else from back then? I don't know.
Masters of the Universe, Eternia. The Eternia playset.
Yes, that's an unusual one, isn't it?
It's an expensive one. So a minting boxed one. Wow. The Wayne Foundation thing from Mego. Maybe.
So are these? I'm good. So these seem to be what? Are these like late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s kind of toys? Then you're talking about?
The obviously the Masters of the Universe Eternia is 80s.
No, yeah, but the Mego stuff.
The Mego stuff would be 60s and 70s. Yeah.
We have to be late 70s for the like Buck Rogers stuff because it didn't exist until kind of 78.
Yeah.
I think.
Rum would go back and bring back an original Mr. Blobby. He's got enough Mr. Blobbies. Enough. I'd pick up the Ulysses
Ooh,
31 ship.
good
Yeah,
shouts.
any of the Battle of the Planets, really.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Or all the
Ooh,
Jason the
ooh,
Wheeled
I
Warriors.
was
stuff.
just going to say that, Jason and the Wheeled Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're probably, but I mean, it's interesting because we seem to be going on things maybe
value
on
and
its
scarcity.
its monetary and scarcity value
yeah.
rather than something that might be more
The
meaningful.
Jason and the Wheeled Warriors, for me, that's more a case of they break so easily and don't turn up at all. It would be nice to bring some of them back in immaculate condition to preserve them.
Yeah.
Because where else are you going to get something like that that's not broken or damaged?
Yeah.
If you can find it at all. So that's where my mind went to on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things
Eternia definitely is for the money.
Yeah. I think one of the things I'd go back for, I think, would be, and it's something and nothing really. As a young kid, I had this like transparent plastic clockwork helicopter.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And I'd go back and I'd get something like that. Or even I had some black hole figures, 3 3/4 inch. Like the star robots were they called.
Yeah.
And, Vincent, and they also had some of the I didn't have Bob, I just had Vincent.
Maximilian.
Yeah, the Moffat from Battlestar Galactica, and I had a Centurion.
Daggett.
Yeah, things like that, just to, have them, kind of thing. Because, they're lost. For me, they're lost to time now. I mean, I knew you could probably pick them up, but, it's, things like that.
Some missile-firing Battlestar Galactica ships.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, they will be out there. They will be out there.
They'll be out there, but with the missiles, they're very rare, obviously.
Yeah.
They
They usually...
for a very long time, did they?
No, the missiles are probably lodged in the throats of some dead kids. It's like, oh, excuse me, Mrs. Just before you bury your kid, can I just have that missile, please?
Can I just reach my hand down his throat?
Anyone know the Heimlich maneuver? What's that? Yeah, I mean, I had some of those Battlestar Galactica toys, but like I said, the missiles were fixed in. You just press the button, they just sort of like inched out a little bit.
Oh, very good.
Wow.
Do you have the missiles for it, though? Or did they get stuck in some kid's throat?
No, the like I said...
this is where he comes back and says, "Do you mind? That was my brother."
Yeah. Oh, dear. Oh, sorry. No, I think it was in America, that wasn't it? It was in America that...
Remember Double Dragon, the cartoon? I don't remember Double
I've
Dragon.
heard of it. I know of it, I think.
I know of it as a game. I don't know if it's.
I only know it as a game. I don't.
It's
remember
not the Jackie Chan one, is it? Is it the Jackie Chan one?
No, it's the one with the nunchucks and sort of walking around a 2D thing in a sort of stilted fashion where you can flip yourself through 180 degrees instantly. Yes, that sort of...
No, it's certainly not the Jackie Chan one that I'm thinking of.
Gap. He has the Cylon missile shooting radar.
That sounds very cool.
No, I don't remember it. Gary Chalk's in it though.
Yeah, I had the Cylon radar. I didn't have the Viper. It was the Stellar Probe thing that I had. So it's like so it's like it looked like a Viper, but it just had like straight wings out rather than the angled ones. And then I think it called the Scarab. I had the Scarab, which was like on wheels, and it had like a thing that pivoted up, and that.
Stellar. I'm gonna have to look at that Stellar Probe up. That's bringing back some sort of memory for me. But
Yeah,
is that not the one that I've got at the shop, the Stellar Probe?
I don't know, Gareth. I don't know.
can we find a picture?
I'd have to pop in and have a look.
Yeah.
A bit busy though. Run up to Christmas. Maybe New Year.
Of course, I get it. Images.
Because I've got an Alpha probe, but I know that's not the same. Not the same
Right,
thing.
no, it's not the one I see it.
The Stellar Probe, it came like with front end
Yeah,
of what looks like
yeah,
a Viper, and then like an engine section, but then like a long tube,
Yeah.
and then two
Oh.
like firing missile pod things. Yeah, that's it. That's the
Yeah.
one.
I've got it, but without the tube, so that is just stuck into that.
Right? Yeah.
All right.
And the
And it has that,
doesn't
like,
have an
satellite
engine
thing
there.
with it
It
as
has
well.
another one of those stuck in the back of it instead.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's what I had that.
I always thought it was odd that I didn't. I don't know. Maybe it was just not quite the right time, or maybe I saw it on reruns so that they weren't in the shops anymore.
Oh, there's that thing, Gareth. Just go back up again. Just scroll up. Right next to that kid, that black and white photo, that big figure there. No, the other side. Yeah, that's what I had. That was a colonial warrior, and that used the same premise as Rom the Space Knight. That's an electronic toy. He's got a backpack on his back.
I can see the backpack, yeah.
And it had like a plunger button at the top. Yeah, you can see it on the side profile. And his gun would light up that he's holding.
68 though, that. Wow.
Yeah, I had that. It's just reminding me Remco
Well,
Spider-Man.
That can't be 68. That's all I've got.
Exactly. The moulding of the toy is 68. The basic figure that's been reused again for Battlestar Galactica.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gap's also bragging that he has the Imperial leader, the Ovian commander Adama Starbuck, mint on card from 78.
And now
Gap, 12-inch Cylon and
interesting.
Colonial Warrior in the box.
Gosh.
Yeah, I had the Colonial Warrior. I didn't have the Cylon Centurion. But don't you find it interesting, Gap? They never made a figure of Apollo. It was just Adama and Starbuck.
No love for Mr. Hatch, then?
No. Although, to be fair, you could just buy another Starbuck and have that as Apollo because it didn't particularly look like Dirk Benedict.
Also has the radio.
Yeah, Stellar Probe. Yeah, you even had the little figures for it as well, the little pilots that went in the cockpit.
Yes, they're some money now. Those little Manta Force figures.
Yeah. Well, they're essentially they're about an inch tall. They're only small. Yeah. You're lucky if you get them loose with the loose vehicles with the pilots. They don't.
Did I see the new Godzilla yet? No, because it's not out over here until the 15th. But I do have tickets to see it on the 15th, and I cannot wait.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
I know I've been avoiding them like mad.
I think I'm going to take to the high seas to watch that.
Yeah, it's going to be worth seeing it.
But Kong's coming out with Godzilla as well, isn't he? But you're thinking
that's no. The one that he's talking about here is the new Japanese one.
Yes, I gathered. Yeah,
but then the Godzilla Kong New Empire, I think it's called.
Do
we get that next year? I think it's next year.
Yeah, I think it's 2024.
The trailer for that looks very good as well.
Yeah, my son wants to go and see that.
It's interesting. What I took away from that trailer was it was interesting how energetic Godzilla is in it.
Yeah, he seems very agile.
Yes. Now, I saw somebody comment on social media about that. They're horrified to that fact. But somebody counter-commented by saying that scene looks to be taking place in like the underworldy kind of bit.
Looks like
so,
it, yeah.
So maybe the atmosphere affects them differently under there, and maybe that's what's making him more agile.
Or maybe the level of gravity is different. Sorry, maybe the level of gravity is different.
Yeah. But then again, I mean, what? Just because of Godzilla's size doesn't mean to say he has to be lumbering.
No, he tends to be more lumbering, doesn't he? And I think he's been shown as being more lumbering, particularly in this Monsterverse.
Have you not seen him flying horizontally in the original movies?
Oh, yeah.
Do a flying kick on them.
That is horrible.
But I mean,
So
no,
I am liking
Stay
though.
from
I'm
me now.
loving this. There's so much outrage at the moment from. It's probably a certain area of the populace that tends to normally complain the same way I do about gay things in Doctor Who or trans things or anything like that. They're complaining about him being lit up pink. Oh, the feminizing Godzilla. It's like,
Well, my son was having a serious conversation with me about the fact that he'd probably fueled up from an alternate power source, and that had affected him.
yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. It does show you him. It does show you him sort of like breaking out of an iceberg for whatever reason, doesn't it? Or something. He's encapsulated in something. And
he fell asleep, and you were like, "What? What's got all this going on?"
I'm guessing he's just powered up. I'm just thinking he's well powered up beyond where he's normally being powered up, and that's why he can run so bloody fast as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't really see it as pink. I just thought it was like a neon colour.
Yeah. Well, going back to, I think it was Godzilla 2000 Millennium, there was one there, and he had purple spines in that.
Right.
And at the very, very tips, they were bright pink.
Right.
So they have said as well, it is a homage to that.
Right.
It's just funny to see that there are actually, and I've looked at some of the comments as well, there are actually people crying that he's pink and that they've turned him into an LGBT character. And it's like, I don't think that's what they're going for.
What does look interesting is, if you notice, Godzilla's got this like metal gauntlet thing on as well.
Yeah.
No, Kong has.
Kong, it's got this like metal gauntlet thing. So I'm wondering if that's something that's been manufactured for him specifically to, because apparently in the new film, the antagonist is another Kong.
It's an orangutan version.
Oh, right, an orangutan version.
Yeah, and it's bigger.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's bigger. So I'm guessing that early-ish in the film, you're going to get Kong versus King Louis, and King Louis is going to win and break Kong's arm or something.
Yeah, so they have to reinforce him.
And I reckon that this big gauntlet thing has been created for him so that he can manage with a broken arm or a shattered.
Because don't we? The little Diddy Kong we see, is that the Diddy Kong, or do you think it's the baby version of this giant orangutan thing?
I think it's the baby version of the giant orangutan.
Right.
Right. I don't think it's a Kong. I think it's whatever this King Louis is.
Yeah.
Prince Louis.
Because in the trailer you see like a congregation of them, don't you? Like in a valley area.
Yeah, as though there's a society of Kongs.
Yeah. So is that? Do we think that's do we think that's a flashback, or do we think that?
I think so. I think that's a flashback. I think that's probably going to be a portion where they're telling a story from what's gone off in the past. Because it does show you this big orangutan guy. One of the earliest images, it's sort of like the silhouette of him on a throne. And then in front of the throne, there's like hundreds of skulls of Kongs.
Right. So we're thinking King Louis is responsible for killing all the Kongs.
That's going to stick, isn't it? King Louis.
Yeah. So is that what we think then? King Louis responsible for killing the Kong society.
The Kongs off, in the Hollow Earth. Yeah.
Right.
I think so. And speculation, obviously.
Yeah.
Apparently there are leaks. I'm not going to go looking into them because I'd like to.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Let's face it, these films don't have a lot of story.
No.
So what little bit of it there is, I want to enjoy.
Yeah.
My son will tell me everything because TikTok's going mad for it. He's going mad for it, Dad.
I have watched the first 4 episodes of this Apple Monarch series. Oh, it's gone.
It's gone.
His phone was going crazy and then he went.
I bet his mum's just ringing.
It's probably the bat signal. It's the bat signal. He's
Yeah,
going to go down the cave.
I was in 2 minds because there's this new series on Apple TV.
Oh, yeah. The
Monarch, which is set within the Monsterverse.
Yes.
And I was in 2 minds. Do I wait until all 8 episodes are out?
And then binge
Or
it.
do I watch the first 4 and then wait for the next 4. I ended up watching the first 4. And it's slow, it's taking its time, but I don't feel like I'm not bored.
Okay, that's good.
I'm not bored watching it. I am really enjoying it. The characters in it, yeah, it is about the human characters discovering things about the monsters. It's not so much about the monsters, but I think we knew that going in. It's a TV series. They can't do great big monsters with that kind. It's Apple, so they've got the budget. They're not going to do. But I've got to say, I'm really, really enjoying it so far. It's been good. I probably will end up watching the next 4 episodes as they drop, though, rather than waiting till they've done. What's Lobot say? What's that you say? Spectrum is in danger. I'll put my cap on and be there in a Sinclair C5.
He turns his cap around to activate his superpowers.
Yeah, and he will be. Yeah, you just see him in the C5.
He's actually going to transform into a C5.
He's got a transforming C5.
All that.
Yeah, it's packed up outside.
That's his back. That's his battle armor. That is.
His battle armor is made up of spectrums. It's all good fun. It's all good fun. Oh, he's gone. I don't know if he's coming back.
No, let's hope it's not something serious.
No, well, his mum rings him every night.
Okay.
To say good night and everything. So it's probably that.
Fair enough.
Have we got any ideas for what topic we're going to have next time then? You're normally quite good at coming up with these ideas, Andy.
Didn't you have an idea for the Christmassy themed one?
Did I? I did, didn't I? He's back. He's back. He's here.
Because I think
did I pitch?
Earlier.
What did I pitch?
I did pitch something, but it was a while back now.
Yeah, no, I'm going through our chat.
What's that?
I thought you were.
What did I pitch for the Christmas special? Not Christmas special, but the next episode. Was it going to be talking about memorable Christmases, but we woke up with toys?
That was the one.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think that was it. So yeah, everyone get your thinking caps on, including in the chat, in the comments there, to let us know next time what Christmases stand out for you in your memory as to what toys you got. Not now, Steve. He did used to have a C5. He's got a photo.
Damn you! C5.
He's
I always wanted a C5. I would have liked
the worst toy ever made. That's actually quite a good one. What was the worst toy you ever owned? We might hold that back for January.
Add it to a list if there's a list.
Yeah. Everything all right anyway, Ed?
Yeah, fine, yeah. Yeah, fine.
Was it Mum?
It was Mum.
Yeah. I thought so. Called it.
Yeah.
She likes to just check in before she goes to bed.
Yeah.
She's in.
I know
do.
someone who's got a C5.
Yeah, I'd love to have had a C5. Like I said, I wanted one when they came out, but they were too expensive. They were too expensive. And they're really expensive now.
Yeah.
You know, for one that's in good well, to be fair, even ones that aren't in good condition are expensive.
Yeah.
You know.
Mark's got one over at Brooks Collectibles in Blackpool.
All right, yeah.
He's got it in his museum.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I have had a go on one. There used to be a motor museum in a town near where I live, Batley. And I knew the owner of it, and I had a go in it, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it, you know. But it's, you know, I'd love to know what happened to it. It's a shame if it's not there. If they'd have got rid of it, I'd have bought it. But
£1,100.
oh, for a decent one.
on eBay. It looks
Right.
pretty good.
Yeah,
It was always going to bomb, Logan.
It's described as a working project, whatever that means.
right. As much as I'd love one, I could think of better things to spend that amount of money on.
Yeah.
It, you know, that'd be the kind of thing. It'd be a lottery win kind of.
Yeah.
It's like,
If
all
money
right,
were-
yeah, come on.
If
I'll
money
have
were
one.
no object. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted
but,
to put the lottery on for last night. Never mind.
Plus, I think to be fair, I think I've got enough of Sir Clive's products in my collection.
Yes, I think you have. Most of them.
No. Hey, we're not going down that route. I'm not wearing that hat. I'm wearing a different hat this evening.
Okay.
Maybe one week I should do. Maybe one week I should be here representing Spectral Horace rather than.
Why not? Mine didn't work with the motor, so I had to pedal it everywhere.
Pedal it. Yeah. It was interesting enough. It was the motor out of a washing machine that powered them. They were actually made by Hoover in the same factory as the washing machines, and they use the same gear linkage and motors. Which I mean, to be fair, they were a brilliant idea, but they were 30 years too early. You know,
And then some. Yeah.
you know, it's just because if you think about it now, I mean, Joe's my son has got one, and it's a well, I mean, incorrectly for my like, but they call them hoverboards. You know, the two-wheeled things that you can stand on.
Yeah.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can get
Mine's got
frames
one.
for them. You can get a frame for them that effectively turns them into go-karts. Yeah, and essentially that's a C5.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
just
any
with all the
bike,
body shell.
any bike that's got a battery attached to it
Yeah.
is a C5, isn't it? Effectively, I mean, you know.
Sorry, do I have Spectrum pajamas and jumpers? No, I have some Spectrum t-shirts, but pajamas gives me an idea. No, just a couple of t-shirts.
I think he was taking your cap comment literally.
All right, I see.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a Spectrum cap. I just.
Yeah. I don't think he was. I don't think he meant it literally, but I wouldn't have been surprised if you had Spectrum caps.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, joking aside, I mean, it is a huge hobby of mine, and it is a great passion of mine that I don't. I mean, I know we joke about it on here, and I mention it occasionally, but I don't talk about it enough. I don't talk about it to the extent of that I talk about Transformer stuff and other collectible stuff. But,
I think that's probably because there's more avenues for you to talk about the Transformers.
yeah, and other collectible stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you know, there's a lot of collectible stuff that we shared interests in.
Yeah.
You know.
To be fair, you do talk about Spectrum quite a bit. To be fair,
It's what? Sorry.
No. I mean, even when I've popped around, you do talk about Spectrum. You know, it does come up into conversation.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots more I could talk about.
We've got someone else here. Who's Arrow
Yeah.
Fire? Hello.
It's Arrowfire. How are we doing, sir?
Hello there.
Cool.
It's Mr. Fire. He will be popping up on. He'll be on the Collector's Archive in the new year.
Oh, will he now? Okay.
Yes, he will. Because I don't know if anyone caught the last episode, but the Collector's Archive
special needed.
The Collector's Archive is done for this year now. It'll be back in the new year.
I thought you had a collector's a Christmas special.
Yeah, but there's a Christmas special, but the actual mainline Collector's Archive will be back in the new year.
Cool.
They're going to make a Spectrum cereal.
Taste the rainbow.
Yeah. I think it's 40 years
on that
later. But you talk about cereal. Come on, let's get off Spectrum. We talk about cereal, like cereals as a kid. Yeah, you'd buy. I mean, I did. I'm guilty of it. I did it, but you'd get particular cereals just for the toy that was in the cereal. Yeah. One of the earliest ones I remember was buying some ET cereal. Yeah. Just because it had the picture on the back of the box, and then it had the glow in the dark rubbums, you know. And those cereals were absolutely awful. They were manky. But I had to eat some of them because it were like, you know, I remember my parents saying, "You're not getting any other cereal until you've eaten them."
Yeah.
You know, it was like
Fair.
but yeah, they were awful.
I always found, because yes, just like anyone else, I always wanted cereal for the toys. And I always found that I would run out of cereal and my mum would get a new box of cereal which wouldn't have a toy.
Right.
Because there'd be no promotion going at that time. And then literally the week after or a few days later, there'd be a new promotion. And I'm like, I've got to eat all these before I can get that.
I mean, there was some good
I always
stuff.
seem to miss them.
Yeah. There was I remember I can't remember which cereal it was, but they had the little submarines that you put baking soda in. Yeah.
Right.
There were them. And then there was, I think it was also Kellogg's that did like the little planes, flying planes that you could get. I think they did it. But yeah, there was some good stuff.
Like
Some bad stuff.
I like Weetabix.
Interestingly, Gap, Weetabix did a promotion for a ZX Spectrum game.
And we're back.
We're back. Yeah, there was a Weetabix game. There was a Weetabix game.
I'm sorry, didn't you say to get off this?
I know, but it was Weetabix. Weetabix that did it.
Can you remember when they had the floppy records on the side of the box?
Yes. Yeah. And there
Of
might
course
have
they
been.
did. Of course they did.
Well, that's the. I think it was Weetabix, or there was another one that did, and it was a game on a record. So you had to plug your record player into it to load it up. In fact.
Oh no, here we go.
He's got one, chaps. He's got one.
It just so happens.
Here, Blue Peter is this, isn't it?
Here's one I prepared earlier.
I have something here. I have in my lovely cassette box.
Oh no! Shaking Stevens.
Shakin'
Listening to him the other night.
It's a Shakin' Stevens album, yeah? But it has on it the last track on side B is
It never is.
Shaky, the Spectrum game.
No. Seriously.
Yep, seriously, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. A Shakin' Stevens Spectrum game. It's essentially
Groundbreaking.
it's a very poor Pac-Man clone.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. I've got some rate tapes in here, you know.
I bet you have. Classic. Classic.
All the
I
world.
don't know how many copies of that I own. Buggles.
So, yeah, some.
Somebody was smoking Weetabix when they put that track on the cassette.
Ooh, Batman, I had that one. Yeah. Got challenge the GoBots there.
GoBots? You want GoBots? We've got
Challenge
GoBots.
the GoBots. Collision Course of the Comet. I don't have the book for it though, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Yeah, we've got GoBots. Andy?
Spectrum!
Spectrum!
GoBots.
Mine was from a book.
Hello, Yeezy, joining us from Twitch.
I've got the A-Team.
All right.
I've also got the Gummy Bears. It was a
Gummy
pretty
Bears?
random lot.
Bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Big girls
I
blouse.
am that beyond compare. We are the gummy bears.
What?
Herb
Okay.
Albert and the Tijuana Brass.
Okay.
Have you heard of a song called Spanish Flea?
Next week, an evening with Ed and Spectre.
No, come on, no, it ain't now. Shawaddy waddy.
You know how interesting this is? This is probably the first time that Spectrum has been discussed on Twitch.
This is
Oh dear.
now before all these cassettes are mine from way back in the day, yeah.
On brand subject, not covered by a Spectrum.
Not covered by a Spectrum game.
I want to see
Now-
the Golden Girls, but
Obviously, before I got that, when I was a kid, before I got that, I borrowed because it was my uncle. I first heard War of the Worlds, Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. It would have been when it came out, so it'd have been about 78, maybe 78, 79 when it first came out. And he had it on double record, and he played it for us when we were kids. And I was just like, I love that. It was the ooh-la part that got me, yeah? And so my dad borrowed it, and he copied it onto a cassette for me. Now, this is the cassette, which I'm surprised is still in one piece. It's an old BASF C120. Yeah. So it fit on one of those. But more interestingly, what I've still got is I've got the inner sleeve that I drew for it. Yeah.
Oh. Whee!
that's
That's
excellent.
cool.
That's wonderful.
That is awesome.
So that's that. And that was, I pinched that inner sleeve from, do you remember when you could get headphones in cassette cases?
Yes, I do.
That's the opposite side of the cover. I used to get them little headphones in cassette cases, and that's so yeah. Anyway, what was that Doctor Who thing? What's Yeezy say?
That's complicated.
Yeezy's asking about what Doctor Who is.
Yeah. What rock have you been living under, Yeezy?
Do they have BBC iPlayer?
Yeah, you could start from the beginning, but you could be there for some time.
Right, it's about a madman in a blue box. The blue box is a time and spaceship, and it can go anywhere in space and time, and he makes enemies along the way, and recently they try teaching us lessons. I don't know how you can boil it down into something to just say this is what it's about. It's
one man against the universe, basically, trying to make a difference.
At times, yeah.
In a TARDIS, which is a time and relative dimensions in space vehicle.
I think I'm going to have to say that Wikipedia is your friend.
And a lot of time.
Yeah, and it's a show with, well, it's the 60th anniversary at the moment, so it's got 60 years of history. I can't boil that down into a nutshell for you. How is it possible for a series that's 26 years old with over 800 episodes still be ongoing? Is it really that good? You must have come across Doctor Who references. You must have done.
Police box.
It does very much depend on what circles you travel in, though, don't forget.
Where's Yeezy from? That might help us out. Is he native to the UK or is he speaking to... Sorry, Doctor, did you just assume that person's pronouns?
Pronouns, yeah.
No, sorry.
And it's way older than 26 years old as well.
Yeah,
Right.
It's been going 60 years. It originally ran for 26 years, and then it took a break and came back, and it's been running for, since 2005.
Right, so
From
Yeezy's from Luxembourg. So,
Luxembourg.
right.
Have you never heard of Daleks?
I suppose it also depends as well how old Yeezy is. I mean, is Yeezy, what bracket would you fall into, Yeezy? Are you 20s, 30s, 40s? Or younger? Are you younger than that? If Yeezy's like under 20 years old, I could believe that he's not heard of Doctor Who.
heard it referenced it once on The Big Bang Theory. Sheldon talked about it a lot more than once.
Right, so Yeezy's 25. I could
25.
I could believe that. I could believe that he's not heard of Doctor Who. Yeah, I could go with that.
Don't forget, it is very much a
It's very British.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's got a very British sensibility about it as well. In fact, I would suggest.
Yeah. I don't feel bad, Yeezy. Don't feel bad
No,
about it.
no, don't feel bad about it.
I wouldn't feel bad. But the interesting thing is, you see, this is a side effect, I would suggest, of the Disney effect. Because Disney's distribution of it could be the first time it's had a really thorough international. I mean, BBC America will have shown it before.
It's not like Black Mirror.
No. I would say that Doctor Who could take some good examples from Black Mirror. There could be some really good Doctor Who episodes if they followed some of the formats of Black Mirror episodes.
What, by casting someone who was in Black Mirror, such as Jodie Whittaker?
No, I mean the actual stories and storylines.
Yeah, it's not like Black Mirror in any way, shape, or form. Though.
What?
It's
All right, okay.
It's ongoing. Whereas Black Mirror is an anthology, isn't it? It's a different story every episode.
Yeah, Doctor Who has at least some rules at the moment, or it did have, that it followed. So, and there were recurring enemies and things like that. You know, some one-off episodes, others were more of an ongoing battle. But the quirky thing about Doctor Who is he doesn't really use weapons.
No, he's got no kill rule.
He uses his mind and his allies to help defeat the baddies.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go in a moment, chaps, but I'm laughing because it's interesting because Black Mirror, there was actually a full episode that was about the ZX Spectrum.
There's no escape.
Yeah.
They say there's 5 points of separation.
Yeah.
5 degrees of separation. There isn't even one for you, is there?
Yeah, it's
Are you familiar with the spectrum?
The guy that writes Black Mirror, what's his name now? Oh, bloody hell.
Show Ed my chat, please. What?
I can see your chat, Gap. Don't worry about it, kid. What's his name? Charlie Brooker. Charlie Brooker, yeah, who writes Black Mirror. He's a huge Spectrum fan. He had one as a kid, yeah. And there's an episode of it was actually something really good and new. The episode was called Bandersnatch, and it was an interactive episode. So while you were watching
one, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
If you had a smart TV while you were watching it, it was kind of like a choose your own fate story, yeah. So you could change the direction of the episode. Yep, like that, yeah. And it was they got the title Bandersnatch from a game that a software house called Imagine Software had started making, but the company Imagine Software went bankrupt, so they never was able to finish off the game.
Oh, right.
Yeah? But the fictional game in the episode is a game called Nosedive. And it's based on something that actually happens in the episode. I won't give any spoilers because it is a really good episode. If you have a smart TV, I believe it's on Netflix. It is a good episode to watch. And that's where he got the inspiration for that episode from. And you actually see spectrums in it that are being used to program the game on and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I just want to go back to this for a minute. Use it if you're still watching. If you are at all interested in learning anything else about Doctor Who, I'd probably recommend starting with Series 1. And I don't mean the original 60s series. I mean the reboot from 2005. It is on the BBC iPlayer if you've got access to that.
Yeah.
If not, it's also on Disney Plus all around the world. So you would have access to that one at least. And yeah, if you just go with it saying starting at Series 1, Episode 1 of that, it's very much there for a new audience. So it's a good jumping on point. A really, really good jumping on point. And you've just come back with It hasn't repeated episodes or become well. That's debatable. How do actors continue without aging or getting? That's part of the show. The Doctor himself is an alien, and when the actor has had enough time playing the role, they cast someone else, and the ability of this particular species is that they can regenerate. So instead of dying, they renew themselves. And it's a new actor then that carries on the torch.
So they remain the Doctor, but it's often a slightly different characterization, slightly different personality. But the core is the Doctor each time.
It's genius, to be fair.
Yeah, it's cleverly done.
Yeah,
Well,
it's essentially the same character. It's just different actors play him, and there's slight variations on the personality. But it is the same person. It's just that, like I say, each different actor brings something different to the table for the character. So,
give season 1 a try. See how you get on with it.
So,
and
right,
if you do like it, please come back and let me know.
Yeah. Let us know.
I'd like to know what someone new jumping into it now would think. I think you're wanting to go, aren't you, Ed? Why am I?
Yeah, I need to go.
Your smartphone, Gap. Who's what? I didn't type that.
No. Yeah, no, it came out because I don't think Gap could see my individual replies, so I had to put reply out on that. No, because it was asking about the Netflix episode. If you haven't got a smart TV, you can watch it on your smartphone.
Such duration. It's got a very loving fan base that has kept it alive for a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
3 hours. Yeah. We're gonna go.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy it, Yeezy, and come back to us and let us know what you think.
Whether you like it or don't like it. I'm really interested to know.
Be interesting to get a different cultural perspective on it. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Right, I'm bowing out, chaps. We'll see you all later on. All right.
Good night, Ed. Take care.
And, a long day.
Take care. See you later.
Thank you. But apparently, I did, and thank you for answering the questions. No problem, anytime. Well, when we're able, and you will. Thank you. Yes, it did go by really fast. I think we're caught up with the chat.
Yeah,
I think we're caught up, and I am tired, and I've got kids' lunches to make for tomorrow. That's going to be fun at this time, and I've got washing up to do. I make a good housewife.
And on that bombshell,
have you got a video coming out? Did you say?
I do have several stacked up that I haven't had a chance to get to. I was a bit poorly earlier in the week, so I will get there. Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll watch out for those as well. Yeah. Well, I'm going to say good night.
I will say good night. It's good night from me, and it's good night from him.
Good night, Andy. Apparently, I've got to go make a coffee. Good night. Yeah. Good night, everyone. Take care. And how do I end this?
Leave studio?
We'll go with this.
Cosmic Council, the sight and sound of collecting.